Hey everybody, this is Carl. Welcome to Carl's Opinion. This is our Friday night late night call-in show. Let me get the raccoon out of here. Sorry about that. I got the raccoon still up there. Hey, Mr. Raccoon. All right. Hey, Mr. SOLX, how you doing? I saw reading there earlier. Let's see, 18,000. Congrats. You're all right. Yeah, no, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the good, kind words, there, Mr. SOLX there. And yeah, a lot of news to get to. As you guys might recall, we had our Wednesday night. We did our live panel show. I hadn't done a panel show in several weeks, and I was really happy with it. And had a little bit of background noise there from some of the callers and stuff. But other than that, it was really good. We had a good debate, good questions. We were able to bring a phone caller in, and she was able. That was Common Sense Elizabeth. She was able to talk to and converse with the actual video callers and myself, of course, and that was really nice. It was just a good roundtable discussion on the Democratic debates from the first night on Tuesday, and also from the second night on Wednesday night. And we covered that right about a half hour after the debate ended. So that was really good. I was really happy with that. I really enjoyed that kind of discussion, that kind of opinions going back and forth, talking about the Democratic candidates. So we'll probably be doing another panel show coming up here pretty soon. And again, if you want to be on the panel and you haven't sent me an email in the past, just send me an email to that email address there on the top left, cha2jogger@gmail.com, and just say, hey, I want to be on the panel. Now, everybody's email, sometimes your email address is different than your username. So when you send me the email, make sure you put in, oh, by the way, this is like SOLX. If you send me an email, make sure you put in there, hey, this is SOLX, so I know who you are, because a lot of times your username and email address, of course, are two different names, and I'm like, well, who the hell is that guy? I don't know who this guy is, but if I see it's like, oh, this is SOLX, and I know. That way, if I have your email address on file, when we do the video calls, what I do is I send you a link via email. You can pick it up on your phone or your laptop or desktop, whichever, and you just click on the link, and then I take care of the rest, bring you on in here. You can ask anybody that was on the panel. It's very easy. It's very simple to do. It's a lot of people use Google Hangouts. That's getting ready to go off as of August 1st. I'm going to switch that around. In the video quality on Google Hangouts, they're probably getting rid of it. They're probably going to bring it back as something else, because the quality on Google Hangouts was never that good to begin with. And it's the format. It just wasn't. I don't know. In my opinion, wasn't very conducive to a good conversation. People were just taking up the whole screen every time they chimed in, versus being able to separate everybody out and give everybody a chance to speak and stuff. It just seems easier on this vMix video call. So yeah, they kind of do it right. They've been working on the vMix video call for several years now. They got it down pat pretty good with the audio and video quality. So yeah, so if you're listening to this, and in the future if you want to be on a panel, make sure you send me an email. If you want, you can put your phone number in there as well. And a lot of times when I go to get panel set up, I'll be emailing and also calling people during the day. Whether I go with like 3 guests or 4 guests, 5 guests, or up to 8 guests. I call everybody, confirm they're coming in, and I kind of can line them up. So then when I bring everybody in early, everybody's kind of lined up. I know where everybody's going to get positioned and stuff. It makes it a little bit easier on me. So I appreciate it. If you do that, that'd be really cool. Other than that, though, yeah. So big story is, I know a few people have covered this, and I was watching this myself, and the Democrats pretty much tossing Obama under the bus. And Laura Ingraham did a good show on this. She said back in January, she says, don't underestimate the Ocasio-Cortez wing of the party, that they're not going to have an influence on the party. And the only Google I use is YouTube. I have banned Google on my computer feeds. Oh, any email address is good. So whatever your email address is, Solex, doesn't have to be Google, doesn't have to be Gmail. It can be any email you use. It doesn't matter, as long as I shoot it to you. Generally, it generally helps that if you have YouTube, you have Google, so you don't need a Gmail address to be able to get this. And then worst case scenario, I send you a password also. So if you go like onto vmixcall.com, and I put that in there. You can go to vmixcall.com, and when you go there, it'll give you a screen. You just punch in your password. I give you the password number. You just put it in there, and then you'll come right on in the same way. You can either do it one of two ways. You can click on the link, or you can go to vmixcall.com, and I put that in there when I send you the email, and then just type in the password, and then boom, you come right on in. It's like really, really simple. But yeah, Laura Ingraham, she mentioned this, I think it was last night, Thursday night. She goes, in January when she said that, hey, don't underestimate the influence of Ocasio-Cortez and Tlaib and Presley and Omar. She goes, they're going to become a pretty big, not necessarily leadership in the House. I mean, it takes a long time to get into the leadership position, but their views are going to be becoming the views of the Democratic Party. and she caught a lot of crap for that. I remember that, and she even brought that up last night. She goes, I caught a lot of crap for that. I don't think she said crap, but she was like, I caught a lot of whatever the word she used, and sure enough, if you look at the Democratic candidates, they have all pivoted left because they're all afraid of Ocasio-Cortez and that wing of the party. They're afraid that if they don't pander to that wing of the party, which is your primary voters are different than your general election voters. General election voters, and they come out because it's a big deal, but primary voters, they're the ones who come out during the primaries. They're the ones who knock on doors, who send emails, make phone calls, that kind of stuff. Those are real diehard people. And generally, your diehard people in either party are going to be, like in the Republican Party, your diehard people are the more conservative members of the Republican Party. They're more idealistic. They really care. They're more passionate. And same thing in the Democratic Party. They're generally your strong, your strong base. That's going to be in this case now. Unfortunately, it's the far left. It's not even the left. It's the far left activists. They're the ones who knock on doors, make phone calls, emails, that kind of stuff. And they're the ones who come out to vote in the primary. Not everybody who votes in the general votes in the primary. Just I don't know why. It's just as easy to vote in the primary as it is the general. But a lot of people don't. But the activists of the party will vote in the primary, so they're afraid if they don't go to that activist wing, the AOCs, that they're not going to win in the primary. You don't win in the primary, you don't get to the general. So they've all moved left. I mean, just a few years ago, that's why Obama, the deporter in chief, 3 million deportations. You saw them attacking Biden on that. De Blasio going after Biden on that. Oh, how come you didn't do anything? And then even the Secretary of HUD, Housing Urban Development, Castro, he was like, "Well, I learned from the mistakes of the past." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you were sitting in the room. You were in a cabinet meeting discussing illegal immigration. How come you never opened your mouth and said, 'Hey, I don't think we should be deporting so many people'?" He never said that. Of course not. So, but now he goes, "Well, I've learned from the mistakes." Basically, saying the Obama administration had made mistakes when it was deporting people. And same thing with health care. He's saying, "Hey, we can do Obamacare. We can expand it," and they're all bashing on Obamacare. And it even caused Eric Holder to come out and do a tweet saying, "Hey, man, I can't remember the exact words he used. Let me see. I might have it written down here. Let me see if I wrote it down. Can't remember if I did. Let's see. Might have. Let me double check. Oh, here it is. I wrote it down. This was Eric Holder tweeted this on I believe it was Wednesday night. It was right after the debate. It was July 31st. He tweeted, "To my fellow," he was pissed. It's Eric Holder, Obama's former attorney general. He was pissed. He writes on a tweet, "To my fellow Democrats, be wary of attacking the Obama record. Build on it, expand it, but," and you can hear him saying this, but, trial attorney, "but there is little to be gained for you," or that's a threat, "for you or the party by attacking a very successful and still popular Democratic president." Yeah, he was pissed, and even Al Sharpton came out the next day. He was pissed. He goes, "Oh, this shows like an act of desperation on these people's part. Why are they attacking the guy?" And if you think about it strategically, I mean, you know, uh, here's the problem: the DNC thinks they can do a base election. But they should have learned their lesson from 2016. Hillary Clinton thought, okay, I'm not going to go for the swing voters. I'm not going to go for independents. I'm going to do a base election, bring out the identity politics, bring out my base, and that'll carry the day. And the DNC chair, I guess he feels the same way. Hence the reason why he didn't include Fox in any of the Democratic primary debates because he thought, oh, they'll be too harsh on my people. I just want a big infomercial to get my base excited. I don't want anybody. I don't want any independents or moderates. I don't care about them. I don't want their votes. I don't need their votes because I'm going to win without their votes. Well, I don't know what math he's looking at, but Hillary Clinton tried that math in 2016, outspent Donald Trump 2-1, and didn't get it done. So if you want to, and again, Obama got those votes. A lot of people who voted for Trump voted for President Obama. I voted for President Obama and voted for President Trump. And those are the voters you want. If you're a Democrat, those are the people you want. You want to get those people. There's your Midwestern states. There's your Michigan. There's your Wisconsin. There's Ohio, Pennsylvania. I mean, Minnesota. I mean, North Carolina, Florida. I mean, these are the people you want. And it seems like if you're going to attack the guy that the Democrats think is, a great guy, that is, God on earth, you're going to attack him, attack his policies, and you get old man Biden trying to defend this guy. It's like, what are you doing? And of course, the optics look really bad. Here's Cory Booker and Kamala Harris attacking Obama, and here's old white man Biden defending President Obama. Optics look kind of weird on that one. Nobody really commented on that part, but let's just say the optics didn't look good. It just didn't. It didn't really make. It looked like what? Like what? I mean, they're criticizing Biden for hanging out with segregationists, and here he is defending the first African American president, the old white guy. Against two up and coming African American members of the Democratic Party. It seemed kind of weird. It's like, wait a second. Here's the guy you said was hanging out with segregationists. He's defending the African American against two African American Democrats. It was like, wow, man, that just seems really strange. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, really? Okay. But yeah, that's kind of, now that I think about it, it's kind of amusing. It's like he's almost like, why am I defending this guy? How come you're not defending him? Why are you attacking him? Leave this guy alone. It's funny. I mean, I just kind of thought about that, so I'm kind of chuckling now that I'm thinking of the optics. Oh God. Yeah, I don't think anybody else brought that up, but and now it seems funny if you think about it. They were accusing him of hanging out with segregationists, right? And then, and here he is defending the African American president against two African American senators. It's like, why? Why did he have to? Why should he? And it's stupid politically. I mean, if you're trying to get those Trump voters who voted for President Obama, that's who you want to get. If you want to be president, you're a Democrat. You need those voters. You have to go get them. Okay, they were there. They voted for him twice, and they were right there. And then they voted for Trump. And if you want to win, you better go get them back. And if you're going to attack the guy that they voted for before as a Democrat, when he was, as a Democrat, and then they switched over and voted for a Republican, you need those votes. You don't attack the guy they liked. They're like, wait a second, we didn't vote for Trump because we didn't necessarily, hated Obama. We voted for Trump because we liked Trump. And then, but we, some of these people are like, yeah, but we liked Obama. It's like, wait a minute, why are you attacking that guy? We liked him and we liked Trump. It's like, no, you don't do that. It's so, yeah, oh, definitely, yeah, optics, yeah, definitely SOLX. But Eric Holder doesn't send a lot of tweets out, and when he sent that one out, he was pissed, and he's still really good friends with the Obamas. Hey, Effie loves America. Was asleep. You woke me up. Hey, well, hey, Carl's opinion never sleeps. We constantly are getting the news out. We're constantly bringing in-depth analysis and commentary. Carl's opinion, YouTube channel. Yeah, that's where we are. But anyway. But so yeah, Effie, what I was just saying, it was funny because I kind of just thought about it now. I don't know why I didn't think about it before. But if you think about the optics from that debate, here, you had Booker and Kamala Harris accusing, Biden of hanging out with segregationists back in the 70s, like he's some old white racist guy. And there he is, this old white racist guy defending the first African American president, President Obama, against two African American senators who were attacking Obama's administration and his record. And I just thought of it now, and that's like really funny. That's like really, really funny. But yeah, so it's like another little twist to that whole debate. But yeah, Eric Holder, I read the Eric Holder tweet, and I didn't have it when we did our panel show Wednesday night, but I'll read it again real quick. This is Eric Holder, former Attorney General under President Obama in his first term, and he was pissed. And he's still good friends with the Obamas, with Michelle and Barack. And he wrote, and I'm sure he talked to Barack before he sent this out. And I'm sure Barack Obama wanted to send this out, but he's like, well, I better not, But Holder did, and I'm sure this was coming from the words of either Michelle Obama and or Barack Obama. Eric Holder, he writes on Twitter, to my fellow Democrats, be wary of attacking the Obama record, build on it, expand it, but there is little to be gained for you or the party by attacking a very successful and still popular Democratic president. So with Holder, Holder knows how to use his words. Okay, these words were chosen carefully, and like when he says "but," in law when you use the word "but" or "however," that basically means in a holding, if you will, not a holder, but a holding, that means pay attention. Okay, so when he says "but," there is little to be gained. And then he writes, for you, like he's talking to anybody who was attacking him, like he's making it like a second person. He's like pointing, like not for you in general, but for you. He's talking to whoever was talking shit about President Obama up there. For you, he's making this is a threat for you or the party by attacking a very successful and he uses the word, and still popular Democratic president. Now, that's kind of, I think, remember, Obama hasn't endorsed anybody. He didn't endorse Biden. But, they keep attacking his record, and Biden's the only guy defending it. Obama may just come out of the woodwork just to fuck these other people over. Like, hey, you know what? Fuck you. You want to attack my record? Fuck you. Okay? And come out and endorse Biden. Now, if Obama comes out and endorses Biden, it's game over. Biden, as long as Biden doesn't fuck up or, pass out on stage or do something stupid, if he gets that endorsement, he grabs South Carolina going away. It's not even close. So, I mean, he probably grabs Iowa. Grabs Iowa, which he's already heading, then runs up to New Hampshire, which, who gives a shit? So maybe Sanders or Warren picks up New Hampshire. Nobody's going to care. It's not going to mean anything. Everybody's going, oh, there it is. No, everybody's going to say that's bullshit because the next stop, hello, South Carolina. Bam. And if Obama, remember now, you got California moved their primary up early to March. It's exactly 1 month after the Iowa caucus. The Iowa caucus, I think, is February 3rd, and the California primary is like March 3rd. So, and they start early voting the same day Iowa caucus begins. So Obama is very, 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 very popular in California. A lot of money and a lot of friends. And not to mention the money will flow in like crazy to Biden if Obama comes out for him. With that money and he just hit the media and the campaign. Probably some of Obama's staff people that worked on his campaign will come on over saying, yeah, this is bullshit. And so if Obama endorses Biden, if he gets pissed off enough and actually makes that endorsement and says, here you go, it's yours, it's his. I mean, boom. I mean, and then he goes right into the South, Super Tuesday. The southern states, where, I mean, you have a lot of black voters in South Carolina, but then the southern states, Mississippi, Alabama, see you later, have a nice day. It's gone. It's like, see ya, whoosh. so, they keep poking this guy with a stick. He's one of those guys where he everybody said no drama Obama, like real cool and stuff. But he was he could be a dick, you know what I mean? And you keep poking this guy with a stick, you're gonna see the dick in him. He's gonna be like, I'm a dick, fuck you, watch this, and zap everybody, and then everybody goes bye bye. It's like they weren't even standing there. That's what will happen. It'll be like, whoosh, like this. Watch, I'll use the hand signal, whoosh, 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 or more like gish, gish, gish. That's Obama slapping Booker and Harris. Gish, gish, gish. And Castro, gish, and de Blasio, gish, and Sanders and Warren, gish, 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 do, like that. So it'll be like, just go ahead, piss him off some more. That's what Holder's saying. Go ahead, piss him off some more. Piss him off some more. Because watch, he'll get involved in this debate. Just for you hide and watch. He'll come right out and endorse the guy. He'll have it'll be he'll be one of those big rallies. He'll set it up in some, I don't know where, who cares, doesn't matter. Maybe in South Carolina. That's a good place to go. Go right to South Carolina or Iowa. South Carolina, you get a big crowd. Just, flood the zone. Like, do it like a stadium. I mean, a whole tons of people come out. Like, boom, because two guys could bring in big crowds. President Trump, President Obama. They're great for bringing in big crowds. Nobody else can bring in big crowds, by the way. Okay, only those two guys. That's it. So he goes down there. He sets it up for a big announcement. He's going to be there. Bring Michelle too, because that brings in a ton of people. Michelle, a whole bunch of people show up for her. So the two of them are going to be there, and then they announce like a week in advance. They sell tickets, big stadium, and all the press is there. Of course, I mean all the press is there. Tons of press. Now, if Trump's smart, Trump kind of backs away, doesn't do anything that day, just lets him eat up all the press, and then boom, and then zap. Hey, Tony Patriot, how you doing there, Mr. Tony? Good seeing you. But yeah, So, but anyway, let's take a look at this story real quick. We'll jump over here, and it's a live call-in show tonight. So, phone number is area code 775-273-8970. Again, 775-273-8970. Make sure the phone is on. Yep. All right, so let's get to the first story here. Okay, where are we at here? And let's adjust this a little bit. Boom. Up. The fuck. Ah. Boom. Okay, here we go. All right, sorry. Zapped on one of those little links. Okay, why Democrats are tossing Obama under the bus. Let's take a look. And there's a picture. There's Obama. That's funny. There's a picture of Obama getting out of a bus. It looks like that's back when he was president because he had the presidential seal on the side there. So like they're tossing him under it. Like there's Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, grabbing him and throwing him under the bus. Like there's a Secret Service guy. Don't throw him under the bus. So anyway, here we go. Washington Times. Detroit, Democratic voters are still enamored with former President Barack Obama, but the party's 2020 presidential hopefuls are running away from his policies as fast as they can. Now, if you notice at the rally last night in Cincinnati, President Trump brought this up. What he said, it was great. I love what he said, too, because he's like stoking the fires, He's kind of like, he's being an asshole, like, it's just kind of like, make him even madder. He goes, yeah, so Trump was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it. They actually criticized President Obama more than they criticized me last night. And that went out there. A lot of people heard that. He was like, I'm going to screw with you guys a little bit. And so he says, although many voters say they are searching for an Obama-esque standard bearer to run against President Trump, the candidates say the former president was a failure on immigration, healthcare, and trade. And then even former Vice President Joe Biden, which doesn't make any sense, but I mean, if he had embraced, I guarantee, if he had actually embraced Obama last night, big time, Obama and all those guys were attacking him, Obama might have come out next week with an endorsement. But even former Vice President Joe Biden tossed overboard the man he called his brother from another mother. He griped during the Democratic presidential debate Wednesday that Obamacare needs changes. That wasn't a big deal. The trade deal they negotiated falls short. That's okay. That wasn't a big deal either. But when he said too many illegal immigrants were deported, he could have held off on that one. That's the only one he could have said, you know what, we did our job. We were faced with a crisis. We did our job. We did it well. And you know what, stop bitching and moaning. Stop playing Monday morning quarterback. That's what he should have said. He should have showed some balls, Wednesday night, and he would have won a lot more points. Instead, he had a cave on that one. I mean, if he wants to say we need changes to Obamacare, nobody's going to bitch about that. He said he wants a trade deal renegotiated. Nobody's going to bitch about that. But when he threw Obama under the bus himself a little bit when he says we deported too many illegals. Well, he could have just said, hey, man, we did our job, man. We were right there. He got Jay Johnson backing him up. I mean, he got a lot of people that could have backed him up. He could have just held strong on that one. So then he goes on to say, absolutely, absolutely not, he said, this is Biden, when pressed on whether he would continue Obama administration deportation policies, which resulted in 400,000 removals a year, a figure that outraged liberal activists. The Obama legacy took hits from Senator Kamala Harris of California. She described the Affordable Care Act, often touted as Mr. Obama's biggest accomplishment, as unacceptable status quo. Yeah, we got to insure like everybody for whatever reason. So it makes no sense. Let's see what story this is real quick. Oh, you see that little story right there? U.S. to export more beef to Europe. Yeah, they did a deal on that. I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. I like how he did a little end run around China there. That's pretty cool. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey trashed the former president's immigration legacy. Deflecting criticism of his own administration, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio faulted the Obama Justice Department handling of the 2014 killing of Eric Garner, black man who died in a chokehold by city police during his arrest for selling cigarettes. Yeah, so I like how de Blasio, he's the freaking mayor, and he's going to blame the U.S. Department of Justice for the way they handled it. It's like, you're the damn mayor. What the hell are you blaming the federal government for? Biden pivoted Thursday to more forcefully defend Obama's record. And, Thursday he rethought what he did the night before. He said, oh, shit, I should have just stood up for this guy. And he says, I was a little surprised about how much incoming there was about Barack. This is Biden on Thursday after Wednesday night's performance. He said it at a campaign stop at a Detroit diner. I'm proud of having served with him. I'm proud of the job he did. I don't think there's anything he has to apologize for. He should have said that the night before, though. That would have been really. That's what I'm saying. He's off his step a little bit. For him, he's just not the same guy because he could have made that point the night before, and the crowd would have erupted. First of all, they would have been like, "Yay!" And then the other people would maybe shut up for a few minutes. So Biden didn't reverse course on where he distanced himself from the country's first black president. However, he did defend Obama's immigration record, citing the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals deportation amnesty granted to illegal immigrant dreamers. He said the number of deportations was a poor yardstick for the administration's accomplishment. The idea it's somehow comparable to what this guy's doing is bizarre. Well, that's funny though. Actually, Trump is actually deporting less people than President Obama did. So, it's not bizarre, Zach, because that's back in the day when the Democrats were Democrats and Republicans were pretty much on the same page on immigration. I mean, the Republicans wanted more enforcement, Democrats wanted less. Democrats wanted more pathway to citizenship. Republicans wanted less, but those weren't like miles apart. It wasn't like this huge chasm between them. Okay, it wasn't like the Grand Canyon. The Republicans on one side of the Grand Canyon, the Democrats on the other side. Republicans one side, Democrats the other side, and Evel Knievel is trying to jump, over the Grand Canyon in a rocket. Okay, no, it wasn't like that. That's not how it was. Any of us old enough, which you shouldn't have to be that old to remember this, it's only 10 years ago or 8 years ago. Well, if you remember, they weren't that far apart. I mean, it was just a few little things here and there. But today, now we're like a million miles apart. I mean, we're not even close. We're not even the same. Forget the Grand. We're not even the same Grand Canyon National Park, let alone standing on the other side of the Grand Canyon itself. Let's see. American Joe Biden is the assumptive winner. Let's see. What you guys saying here? Hey, American Joe, how you doing? Dropped out, but can't find anything on it, so must have been fake news. Yeah, American Joe, I think that would definitely be fake news. I unless he just had a heart attack, I can't see him dropping out. Yeah, I mean, he'd have to like die. Which he's pretty old, but unless that happens, yeah, I don't see him. I mean, he's way ahead in the polls. He has no reason to drop out or anything right now. So no, I don't see that as reality. Let's see. The idea it's somehow comparable. Let's see. Okay. Zach Friend, a Democratic strategist who worked on Mr. Obama's 2008 campaign, said it was a mistake to mess with the former president, whose popularity among Democrats has been as high as 97% in recent polls. Yeah, that doesn't make. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. It doesn't make any sense. This guy is like, way. He's way up there in the polls. He's the most popular Democrat there is. If you're running for the Democratic nomination, you're going after the guy who's got let's just say he's at 80%. Okay, forget 97. Say he's at 80% approval among Democrats. You want to throw those people away? You want to throw those votes away if you're going in the primary? I mean, I know the activists come out, but trust me, that 80%, a lot of those 80% are activists and will be voting in the primary. So he goes on to say it seems counterproductive to focus on concerns with his legacy rather than on President Trump's current policies. He said ultimately the differences in shades of blue between these candidates pale in comparison to the differences between these candidates and the policies of the current administration. The focus should be united on how we will make the lives better for everyday Americans and how to keep this president a one-term president. So the Reverend Wendell Anthony, president of the Detroit NAACP, agreed that the focus should be on Mr. Trump because his record is destroying the nation and who we are. And he went on to say they spent a lot of time talking about the past rather than the present or the future. He said you don't want to cannibalize the whole team so no woman or man is left standing. Right? You don't want to President Obama warned him about this. He was in Europe. I can't remember what city he was in. He said, look, you don't get into this big circular firing squad. He was trying to tell him. He goes, that's not gonna help. But for us, it's fun. Oh, phone call coming in. Hey, Effie loves America. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Carl. You want to finish reading that?
No, pretty much. Well, I tell you what. Well, now that you mentioned it, let me just look real quick. Let's see. So let's see what they say. If there was any doubt about the continuing appeal of Mr. Obama, Democratic National Committee Chairman Tom Perez put it to rest with his opening remarks at the debate. And he said, "Am I the only one who misses Barack Obama in the room?" And then there was a roar of applause. And even though that's what I'm done reading that. But yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. I mean, I didn't see the beginning part of that debate, but if there was a big roar of applause and those candidates in the back hearing that, and didn't they say, "Hey, maybe we should have criticized the guy that's probably going to get the most applause the whole night"? Does that make any sense to you?
What's that word they don't have besides common sense? Oh, yeah, strategery.
Strategery. There you go,
They have
strategery.
no strategery, Mr. Carl. That's their problem.
I mean,
Well,
I
that's
don't
many.
I don't
There
know.
may
Like,
be many.
you know what it is? I think it's been a long time since somebody's run. I mean, think about it. Al Gore kind of ran away from Bill Clinton, right, because of the whole Lewinsky scandal right near the end of the term. Trump didn't forget running away from George W. Bush. Trump attacked George W. Bush every chance he could get, and you'd have to go back to, and of course Clinton ran against H.W. You have to go back to H.W. in '88 when he was embracing the sitting president while he was running, Ronald Reagan. So I think it's been a long time since you actually grab onto the guy who's in office at the time and say, yeah, this guy's great, or like the last guy you had in. So I don't know. I think they're just stupid.
Mhm. Well, they don't really have any other plays, especially the hard leftists, because their go-to tactic is attack, attack, attack. So they don't really know how to be subtle or how to be congenial. Um, even when they shake hands at the beginning of the debate, it's just so phony. They don't know how
Yeah.
to be statesmanlike, I guess is the word.
You know what?
So, you
Presidential.
know,
They don't know how to be presidential. That's the problem.
yeah,
None of
that's a
them.
good word.
None of
Mhm.
them look presidential. They don't look like, you know what?
Exactly.
I'd vote for that guy. Like even in 16, like we had like Scott Walker. He looked presidential. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think who else. Now I keep seeing Trump, and I'm looking at the 2016 debates in my head for some reason. But like Scott Walker seemed presidential. Trump, and then I can't remember. Like, I know Jeb Bush didn't seem presidential, or anybody. Rand Paul, he seemed presidential, but like in kind of like, hey, let's go smoke some weed.
He was fringe presidential for the black pillars, but yeah.
Right.
Anyway, but okay, a couple of things, but um, first off, did you hear Michael Moore's plea for Michelle Obama to run
Yeah,
to
I think.
save them from the bad orange man?
Yeah, I think he's the only one that. In fact, I saw Mark Dice covered it this morning in his video showing that clip, and
Okay.
Mark Dice had to come back on because, like, Mark Dice does a
Who
lap. Mark,
who covered it?
Mark Dice. You ever watch Mark
Say it
Dice?
again.
Mark Dice.
No, I just like hearing his name. Okay, go ahead.
You're such crazy. Anyway, he covered it. That guy, his name, whoever he was. Anyway, he covered it, and
No, you have to say his name. You
oh
say his
God,
name.
I got one of his T-shirts. I'll mail it to you. Instead of getting a Carl's Opinion YouTube Trump 2020 hat, I'll mail you one of Mark Dice's shirts. I think I got some of, one of his
No,
Liberal
I'm
Tears
gonna make
mugs.
my own. I'm gonna make my own with his face on it. I want
Oh
my shirt to be like
God.
that.
Oh jeez. Okay, stop. You make me. I'm going to throw up. But anyway, you know how he always like he'll put a laugh track on his videos he's covering when he's covering like an interview. He'll put a laugh track on it. He's doing the video and you hear laughter when because he's on I think he's on Brian Williams' show or somebody's show, and you hear laughter. So Dice comes back in and says, "Hey, by the way, that wasn't a
Yeah.
laugh track. That was the other guest on the panel. They were laughing at him when he said it. And these are all liberals on the panel. This Brian Williams show because these are other liberals laughing at him when he said that. So I think he's the only one saying it.
Yeah, those
Look."
awesome.
She's worth 50 million. She's making money, and not to mention when you run for president, that's when people really look hard at you. And Warren and Sanders aren't going to give anybody a pass
Oh
walking in.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Warren and Sanders. Let's be
Yeah.
let's be honest. They're going to be dead in about 5 years. This is their last hurrah. They're not going to be interested. Oh yeah, this is a good idea. Okay, we're going to drop out. You win. No, not even close.
Yeah, the field is crowded. They would all be attacking her. They're already attacking Obama. The more feminine side of the couple. They're already attacking him, and the sissy one. They're attacking the sissy one, and what are they gonna what are they gonna say about her? I mean, but even so, she's got to be keenly aware that there is a huge contingent of people that loathe her. So Michael Moore sees her as somebody who's akin to Trump, who draws large crowds and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But
Michael Moore still doesn't get it. He doesn't. He still.
they're not Trump crowds.
No. He still
They're
doesn't
not Trump
understand.
crowds. He's
No.
just
No. No.
mhm.
No. No. Moore doesn't get it. More. I like Moore. Moore told. It's funny on the morning of the election the morning after when he was on Morning Joe, because I was up, I was watching everything, I was all jumping up and down like a maniac. So he was on Morning Joe, and he was trying to tell him why Trump just won. And he had it about 75% right, but the problem is with everybody, if you miss that last 25%, you really don't get it. And so and he still doesn't get it. He thinks because what large crowds and because he's like he's good at being a TV star. No, no, we don't vote like that. It's like TV star. Okay, yeah, that's why I've been I got 4 years of college, 3 years of law school. Yeah, that's why I voted for somebody because he's a TV star. Yeah, that's why I voted for him. That's why everybody else did too. No, because he was talking to us. Okay, he was talking to us, and he was saying, "Hey, you guys are getting screwed." And let me show you. Let me tell you what I'm going to do to help you. And so, like I always say, we support him because he supports us. Okay, it's definitely a two-way street, and his support of us is why we support him. It is, that's the egg, we're the chicken. Okay, him supporting us and saying I'm going to work for you. I'm going to go to work for you. I'm going to do this. You guys have been getting screwed. I'm a gazillionaire. I haven't been getting screwed. You've been. This is what I'm going to do to make things better for you. Okay, and that's why we voted for him. And then he follows through with it, and he's been doing great, and that's why we're going to vote for him again. As long as everybody gets out to the damn polls and votes.
Yep. It's yeah. We've got to keep up the pressure because let's face it, there are a large contingent of just rabid anti-Trumpers out there,
Yep.
in the media is just they're double teaming the propaganda at this stage, and they are um, censoring everyone they can possibly censor, and it's only going to get worse. And I'm
Oh
not a
yeah.
doom and gloomer by nature. You know that about me, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a glass half full type person.
Right.
So I'm saying this is going to be a dirty, tough fight. The forces of darkness are in force right now. So it's no time to be lazy and lax about it. And so that's why I do what I can to help the people on YouTube that I can help, and do what I can do with my graphics and stuff. But I'm doing my part, Carl, and you're doing your part. So I'm proud of you. If nobody's
Yeah.
told you that today, I'm proud of you.
Well, hey. Well,
Just
thanks.
sincerely.
Oh, hey,
And
that was
and so's my cat.
cool. Oh, that was a
He
great.
doesn't even like many people.
Well, your cat likes me. Well, shit. That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
although,
He does. That's
although,
a
although,
huge compliment. He doesn't like everybody.
but I was gonna say, I bet. Oh, does your cat like Mark Dice better though?
I never asked him. He's probably jealous of Mark Dice, but that's he's gonna have to get over it.
He probably hates. Oh yeah, like that T-shirt. He'll
Whatever.
like he'll rip that T-shirt to shreds. You'll come home one night and he'll be on it and he'll be like all the claw marks will be on the shirt and stuff and then he'll piss on it. So yeah, go ahead, put it on. Mark who? Mark who? Oh
Just
yeah,
because
Tony.
we,
Yeah, Tony says yeah, thanks that you did you did his background like you were telling me the other night. He says thanks in the chat room.
oh yeah, yeah. I forgot Tony's in the chat. I didn't forget Tony was in the chat. I'm just speaking. I forgot. Yes, Tony is one of the people that I tried to help if I didn't mess up his channel.
Well, he said he likes
So
it. So hey, I guess you did a good job.
yeah, that's the important thing. The customer's
Right.
always right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to choose as a
So
thumb. I
I
was
have.
able to
Mhm.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, and I had one other thing I wanted to mention. SOLX was talking about. You were talking about Harris and
Booker.
the thing about her that distinguishes her as far as her extremist leftist rhetoric about free stuff that distinguishes her from Sanders is she won't admit, of course, where the money's coming from. So we call it Harris's free money tree.
Right. Oh,
And
Harris's free money tree.
and
Yeah.
right, because she apparently like we were saying, like I was saying yesterday, she doesn't understand. When was that? 2 days ago? I don't know. It's all one day to me. I've been working. She
Yeah.
she doesn't know where money comes from, so she makes these vastly impossible economic promises about free health care for all, and that's what she was reaming Biden for. It's like, why aren't you giving free health care for everybody? You're not leftist enough, that kind of BS. And of course, that's just pie in the sky nonsense. Nobody can pay for that unless everybody gets taxed 90%. And then I was saying, and then SOLX mentioned tonight, he was saying, I told you where the money's coming from. Well, I addressed that. SOLX, it was, she believes in raising minimum wage. She believes in public, making all health care public, and somehow that's going to make it less expensive, which of course it doesn't. Adding a vast, inept middleman to our health care does not make it more affordable. That's just no. But it will destroy the private sector and insurance companies altogether, ultimately making us at least now 1/3 socialist nation, because that's how much of the economy it'll gobble up. But I digress. But they think raising minimum wage is going to create more income. But we already know, SOLX, that it does not. Raising minimum wage decreases not income, I'm sorry, the government's revenue. Revenue to the state, which I mean by the state, the country, decreases when you do dumb things like mess up the economy with raising minimum wage so that people lose their jobs. Also, raising taxes decreases income. There's a sweet spot, but
Right.
Raising taxes also.
Well, yeah, because
So,
if you
so
raise
no.
if you raise minimum wage also over like immediately everybody has a little bit more spending power, but then when the vendors and the suppliers and the people have to pay out the minimum wage, at some point then it starts tipping downward. Your spending power goes down, and I think I was talking to Dirtbag about this the other night, and I said it's like, okay, like if you're a waiter and now you're making $15 an hour, so then you go over to the grocery store to go shopping, but the store clerk is now making $15 an hour, so the grocery store had to raise his prices. Then suddenly you're paying more for the bread and for milk and for food and whatever. So suddenly, yeah, you got that raise, but now your spending power is like the same, and actually it goes down. The Congressional Budget Office, which is normally is a very neutral office when they evaluate people's plans, it actually by 2025 it actually decreases spending power by 0.1%. So it goes down negative 0.1%. So it doesn't even stay constant, like even, like we all go up evenly. It actually goes down 1/10 of a percent.
Exactly.
So it doesn't help
Well,
anybody by 2025.
individual or private wealth decreases when you mess up. Yes, when you mess up the business, when you mess up the private sector with minimum wage as well. Or what I was referring to was public wealth, which is the state revenue, which is the money that goes into the government. That also decreases. SOLX is hammering higher tax bracket in the chat. It doesn't matter if it's a higher tax bracket, sweetie, if people aren't working, because the economy gets wrecked with minimum wage increases.
Right, because
In other
they
words,
figured,
employers
yeah,
don't hire people,
right, because they figured like between
and
1.3 and
employers fire
3.7 million.
people.
Yeah, like between 1.3 and 3.7
Yeah,
million
because
people lose
what
their jobs.
happens?
Yeah.
Lose their jobs, because it's not just the minimum wage people that they don't hire or that they fire when they increase minimum wage unreasonably. The other thing that happens is that the categories of skilled workers have to also proportionately get increased, or else they're not going to feel that they're being paid fairly. If you're going to raise somebody who's unskilled minimum wage to $20 an hour, but you're paying a college graduate $20 an hour, that college graduate is going to feel slighted if you don't give them a raise as well. You're pricing a lot of small businesses out of the ability to keep people hired altogether. Millions of people and keep in mind, most people are hired by small businesses. So
Right.
millions of people will be unemployed. So higher tax brackets don't mean diddly squat when the unemployment rate will suddenly increase exponentially. So that's the problem. Higher tax bracket is pie in the sky Democrat thinking. It has nothing to do with real economics. You can fudge the numbers a little bit at a local level with cities and states, and kind of sort of, but you still have major problems. Look at the inflation in states in places that have really high minimum wage. It's
Right.
$3,000 for a little apartment.
Well, yeah, and that's the next
So
problem. See,
no,
the next problem is that when you increase the minimum wage, you increase the price of goods. So inflation is just not. Well, of course, inflation goes up because it's the price is going higher. So then what happens now? You got the Fed who when they see anything above 2% inflation, they want to cut down interest rates. So okay, so here's your inflation
Yeah.
now. That triggers the
Like that's
Fed to
the
cut.
magic bullet.
Right, right. So here's the Fed now
Mhm.
cutting down interest rates, which slows economic growth. So now the CBO did not take that into account, and I wish they would have, because for the CBO they're saying, well, we don't know what the Fed's going to do. Well, you know what the Fed's going to do. They tell you if it goes over 2% inflation, we're cutting interest rates, and they should have taken that into account because that little 1.3 to 3.7 million jobs that decrease, I think would have been a higher number because when the Fed cut that increased interest rates and they cut down economic growth and investment, then that excuse me, that unemployment number is going to go even higher. So I wish the CBO had taken that into account, but they didn't, and they should have because that's a real deal. The Fed is really hot. You remember the Carter administration when you had spiraling inflation, interest rates, inflation, everything, and the Fed couldn't get inflation under control no matter how much they raised the prime rate. I think they raised it all the way to 19%. It was a prime rate. Right now, the prime rate's like what, two and change, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So, went all the way to
I don't
19.
remember the Carter,
Oh, I
but
do.
I've read about it and I've heard of stagflation and long gas lines and anyway. But yeah, but what do you think about auditing the Fed and whose job is it to audit the Fed?
There is no job. I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how that happens, but all I know is they're really super independent. In fact, their budget doesn't even come out of the budget. I was talking to an economics professor of mine. I'm not sure I told you this, but he was talking about like, okay, who do you think has the nicest offices in D.C.? And I don't know, we all came up with different answers. He goes, no, the Federal Reserve. And we all looked at each other, and he goes, you know why? And we're like, why? Because they're not part of the budget. They get their money from the banks. The banks pay a fee to fund the Federal Reserve, and they have like the nicest offices, the best furniture, I mean, the best salaries. So they're independent of the budget. So as far as who would audit them to see what they're doing, I have no idea. I mean, I guess if all the banks got together and got pissy moany, probably not a good idea because again, these are the guys. Well, first of all the guys in the Fed are all these former bankers. Goldman Sachs guys and guys
Right.
like that. So they leave Goldman
Mhm.
Sachs, go to work for the Fed, then they leave the Fed, go back to Goldman Sachs, get a nice big bonus when they resign. I mean, it's just I don't know who would call for that. I don't know how it gets done. You'd probably need literally a law, an act of Congress, and a law
I
signed
was
by the
thinking
president.
that. Will it require a bill?
I
Yeah.
think I don't
Okay,
know
gotcha.
I'm not Glenn Beck, and I don't know enough about the Fed. He knows a lot about it, as crazy as he is. He knows like everything about the
Mhm.
history of it. I'm sure he would know the answer to that question. But my guess is, if Congress said, "Okay, you know what, this is getting out of control. You guys suck," and they passed a law saying, "Hey, we're going in and we're invading you. We're gonna get to we're gonna go deep dive into your offices. We're going there with the U.S. Marshals. Are gonna start grabbing your files and shit." I mean, and the president signed it, and, and then here come the U.S. Marshals and the FBI. There's probably not much the Fed can do. They don't have an army. I mean, they're like the Fed
Well,
arms a bunch,
yeah,
they
yeah.
hire a bunch of mercenaries and like they're fighting it out there. And you see like some like third world country, like the tanks are in the streets shooting at the Fed guys, and like Ireland from
Okay, who's crazy
1925.
now, Carl? Who's being
So
crazy? No.
that's my imagination. That
Well,
was my imagination. That was my imagination just going
it's
crazy.
late, I guess. Two responses to that. We're all a little crazy. And
Yeah.
secondly, from what you do know about the Fed, how are they not a monopoly? How are they
Oh,
not
they are.
violating antitrust laws
Oh,
right
totally.
now?
Oh, completely. Yes, without a doubt. Yeah, I watched enough of Glenn Beck to know that yes, they are totally a monopoly. They're totally violating antitrust laws. Yes, without a doubt, no doubt. Yes. So, but it's one of those things where, again, I'm trying to remember the history when they put it together. There was a big banking crisis. Things were all screwed up, and there was a big power grab. Like, oh, we can't let this happen again, right? So it's like, oh, we'll do this, and this turned out to be this. So, hey, DA Archer's in the
Mhm.
DA Archer's in the chat.
Yes. Yes, he is. I said hi. I think I said hi unless it disappeared. Yeah, I said morning because it's morning here also.
Yeah, you East Coast
Because you guys
people.
woke me up.
Oh, well, it just turned morning on me too. So I just grabbed the morning also. Well, I took a nap. I was tired.
Oh, that's.
It was a long week. And then
Oh, okay.
yeah, I took a nap
That's
and then
why
I
you're all
woke up.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You
Oh
took a
yeah,
nap.
yeah, definitely. I
Did you
love take.
fall forward and hit your head on the mic again?
No, I don't take a nap in front of the microphone. No, I take a nap in a nice chair upstairs in my upstairs man cave with the big screen TV, so I can watch like Tucker Carlson and stuff. So I'll fall asleep watching like
Well, I was
Tucker or
just
Shan.
remembering you told me that you fell forward and hit your head on the mic because you fell asleep. You were so
I was
tired in your
making
little sofa. So
I was making a joke. I was making a joke. I didn't do that. I don't care.
sure you were.
That big bump on my head came from something else. You know, I fell down outside on the street or something.
Yeah,
It's like, goosh.
I've got marked because I've got a domestic violence problem going on in my house. My cat, he got stoned today, and on some catnip. Apparently, he found a stash that I was unaware of. He must have hidden it from me. And then his eyes were all dilated, and then he just started smacking me in the leg. So I don't know what was up with that, but he
So
settled down eventually. But
it's funny
he
when they
got
get
a
on.
few
They get
good
on.
jabs.
Yeah, it's funny when they get on that catnip, roll. That is pretty. That is pretty funny. They get kind of all crazy and stuff. They get all weird.
Yeah.
You
And I'm
know.
a libertarian about that, but not when it comes to taking it out on me. If you're going to be doing drugs, do it safely and don't be attacking your provider. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No,
But
they get really
you
goofy.
know how these catnip heads are. Can't be reasoned with. I'm sorry.
No, I mean they get really crazy. They get really insane and stuff like that. So, you know.
Yeah, yeah. He had this like his eyes were dilated. He looked like he was at the Woodstock, and he just suddenly decided my leg was an enemy and started smacking the heck out of it. I don't know what was up, but I don't know what he was seeing, but it wasn't me. It was a bad trip, poor kitty.
Oh, Solix wants to
So,
know how many.
but
Solix wants to know how many hats you get because you call in. It goes, how
how
many
many
hats? How many hats do you get? I don't know.
as many as I want.
You go, I get all the hats I want. I gobble them all up. It's like
I get
I'll go,
all the hats,
I'll go on the next show and I'll say, everybody says, hey, how
every
can we?
color.
I'll say, hey, everybody be like, hey, where's my hat? And I said, I'm sorry, I had to give them all to Effie. Effie got all the hats. They're like, what? What?
It was,
Then
we
also,
had a verbal contract.
and then also, then also,
It was an implied contract.
there you go. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm skimming around eBay, and I just punch my name in, and like, here's Effie Loves America selling Carl's Opinion YouTube ads, $20. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what
You
the
have to be
hell?
careful how you phrase things, Mr. Carl, because you say you're going to do a thing, and if
Okay,
you don't have the proper caveats,
what I said was,
your caveats, like it's like
do,
an
do, do you know what's,
all-you-can-eat buffet, you have to be careful.
do you know what's funny?
You have to say
Do you know what's
2-hour
funny?
limitation.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's
Mhm.
funny? Um,
What's funny?
I,
You just did a case about that.
Okay, no. Well,
That would be
what's
awesome.
funny is that I had the panel show, and I said, okay, I just need you need your mailing address. Nobody sent me their mailing address, so I could send them a hat.
Okay, I'll get all their hats then. I'll send you my address and
You're
I'll
right.
get all
I'll
the
just,
hats. And then I will
yeah,
do videos wearing those hats and I will taunt them mercilessly. That will
right.
be fun.
Yeah, because I said, okay, I said, I go, everybody that's on the panel, including Common Sense
I will
Elizabeth.
offer them at a price
Oh yeah,
because I
in
am a
fact,
free market economist.
let me
Well, I'm
mention real
not an
quick.
economist, but
Let me mention real quick who was on the panel on Wednesday. Wednesday night panel for post debate analysis was Effie Loves America, Forbidden Information, None Your Business, the Great Dirtbag, and Common Sense Elizabeth as well. So who called in and she was able to talk to the video callers through the phone call. So that was really cool. But anyway, everybody there is entitled to a hat. And I said, just send me your mailing address, and nobody sent me a mailing address. So I got all these hats, and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Just send me
well, it's
$24,000
like
for
Black
shipping and handling.
Friday sale, first come, first serve.
There you go.
If I'm the only one showing up at 5 a.m. for the hat, then I get all the hats.
Did you
That's
want
how I used to get my niece's presents.
did you want the camo hat or the navy blue hat?
I think the navy blue hat goes better with my complexion, so I'll go with the
Okay,
navy blue.
I'll send you the
So
navy blue hat.
I'll send you that
Yeah.
info. As long as you don't send my info to anybody who might want to send me some white powders or any other dangerous substances
You mean
because
like dox you?
I'm a little nervous.
Like I'll just get everybody's address and I'll throw it up in the chat room. I'll just dox everybody. Carl the dox, the dick.
Yeah, yeah, just
Carl the
dox.
dick.
Don't dox me, Carl.
Carl
Don't
the
dox
dick.
me.
Carl the
Don't
dick the
dox me,
dox.
bro.
Don't dox me now.
Can't. Don't dox me, bro. Can't we all just get along? Come on.
There you go.
I try my best.
How many cliches can we do
But
in one
okay,
night?
so I'm sorry, dear.
I said, how many
You broke
cliches?
up. I heard nothing.
Oh, I said, how many cliches can we do in one night?
Yeah, I try to fit them in because I'm old enough to remember half of them.
Oh,
Like since time began, half of them. That's like
oh, do you
several
know?
thousand years of them.
Oh, do you know what was really cool?
Hmm.
Like, when I uploaded the YouTube from Wednesday night, one of the thumbnails they gave me three thumbnail choices, and I could have done a custom one, but they gave me three thumbnail choices. Two were of the zombie, which is funny, which I thought would have been kind of
That's
cool for
funny.
like Democratic debate. And they show the, I have the zombie, but one was four shot. It was before Dirtbag came in, so it was me, you, Nanya, and Forbidden, and it was actually a pretty good shot. It was actually a pretty good picture, so that was kind of cool.
Because we're not sitting down yet. We're it's the beginning before we went live, but we
No,
weren't. But
no,
we weren't
no.
all
Oh,
like looking at our computer screen.
oh no, no,
Okay.
no. We were live. The thumbnail is only from the live shot. It's only when we're streaming, so it wasn't from
Okay.
before that. Yeah, it was
Gotcha.
YouTube's. It
Gotcha.
was YouTube's suggested thumbnail. They give you three suggestions. You can do a custom one, but it's always better, easier if you use one of their suggestions, and you just kind of hope that they give you a nice one. And the one was actually a nice four shot for the thumbnail for that video that
Oh,
night.
cool. Cool.
Oh,
SOLX
wait,
says
hold on,
he's
hold on.
challenging me to go. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
hold on. Okay, I challenged Effie to go live video feed. No one knows what you look like. What? Of course everybody knows. Solex, she was on Wednesday night.
That's what we're talking about, SOLX.
Yeah, she was on.
We did how many? We had 5 of us all together, and a
Yeah,
raccoon. No, we had 6 of us, but the raccoon was common sense with Elizabeth because her feed wasn't working, so she called in. So we
right.
had 6 of us. SOLX
Yeah, yeah.
2
No,
nights ago.
no, he was on that night. Solex, she's in the top left.
Was
Go back
on.
to, yeah, go back to
Yeah.
go to
No.
Wednesday. Go to the last video. Go to the last video. She's top left corner. Yeah, Solex, she's
I
top
was
left
there.
corner.
Was I the top left on the? I didn't know if the way we saw it is the way that it gets shown on YouTube. So
Yeah, you were the top left.
I didn't know.
Mhm.
I was the top left. Okay. Yeah, that's how I saw it.
Yeah, this is why people like using YouTube because I mean, look, they just do better than everybody else. Okay, I mean, you can, you can, you can do the live stream and and they have like a lot of people buy editing software. Well, you can actually they have an editing program within YouTube. It's not the best, but it's your basic split, and you can cut off the beginning and the end. You can cut off different parts of it if you want. And they even have an audio. It shows you the audio levels and everything. So it's actually not a bad little editing program without getting a new editing program and working through that. So I mean, they have a lot of tools that they again, mine's just. I was talking the other night. Mine's just went to saying, "Oh, you can upload a full hour video now." I mean, like, really, where have you been for like
Yes.
10,000 years? Just now, because before it used to be 15. I think 15 minutes at most. 15 minutes. I mean, shit, that's my
Yeah.
intro. I mean, shit.
It takes a lot to build that kind of a structure. I don't know how mine's is what their
It's all
system is.
weird.
I
It's
don't know
all
what they're.
it's all
Are they
bit.
peer to peer or are they? I'm sorry.
I think it's. I want to say it's a peer to peer. God, I was playing around with mines about a year ago when I was on someone else's site and we were trying to figure it out. And I remember when we all went over to it because the site we were on was gone on YouTube, and we went over to mines and we all hated it. Even trying to get signed up for it was like, no, literally, you should have seen the I mean, all of us was like, this sucks, this is awful. Well, the site I was on though was more. It was one of those sites where people would stay on for several hours, and you'd have several different threads where people are having different conversations at the same time. So, of course, like mine's is like the chat room, like the live chat. There's no threads. It's just one single thread going down. So we were all used to just going on, like somebody would start, top of the thread, and then you would just literally bounce from thread to thread to thread and have different conversations with different people. and you can stay on. The average people would stay on about an average of like 4 hours. In the chat room. The host would play a 15-minute video, would upload a 15-minute, no live, it was 15-minute video, and literally his analytics, because I had access to he gave me his Google account password so I could 86 people, and his analytics average people are on there like, yeah, his average people are on there like 4 hours. I mean, I would be on there for hours. Well, I was on there moderating the site, so I was constantly bouncing up and down the site, top comments, new comments, checking out different threads and going all over the place. But yeah, you had a lot of people just hanging out. Like in the morning, he'd go on at 5 a.m. And as soon as he went on, you'd have literally like, I don't know, 150 people come on and just be saying, "Hey, everybody," and be jumping on in big competition, who's first, all that kind of shit, little stupid shit. And then it was funny, and like anybody new would come on. Like, wait a second, you guys are commenting, and you guys, it's like the video is 15 minutes long. You guys are already commenting. The video is not even done yet. And so we'd write, "Oh, you didn't get the advanced version like the night before or something. You must be new or something." Some stupid shit. But yeah. So when we went on to Minds, we all hated it, and then just trying to sign in and log in. I don't know if it's any better. I haven't been on the site on Minds probably, I don't know, probably a year. It's been a year since I've been over there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't tried them, so I don't know what their platform is built on.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
I
take
see.
yeah, take a look at it. See what it look. What does it look like? What? It's some kind of a weird Bitcoin thing or
I'm just
something.
I'm just pulling up their blurb right now. It's open source. Okay. Oh, okay. Earn crypto. Sorry, what crypto are you carrying?
I don't know. I haven't been on there for a year. I don't know what they're doing. It's like beats me. I couldn't tell you.
Okay, here's the open source subgroup. Well, yeah, GitLab. Okay. Well, here's their engine. I found their backend engine. Okay. Jellyfish. Yeah, you don't want to hear all this technobabble. Okay, it's
They were trying to be the new Facebook. That's when they came out. See, they were with, I forgot who they were with.
Well, what they are you familiar with how open source works?
It's like open source is like BitChute, isn't it? Or no?
And I'm not familiar if it's just open source. I know that they're peer-to-peer, but I'm not familiar if if they're open source, if they're proprietary. Open source is when the software is open, like unlicensed. Okay. So think of it as unlicensed. The software, what creates the site is available to the public to be augmented, to be added to, and then somebody takes that software, and it's a project, and then they manage it through, like in this case, a channel, a forum. They manage it by group, project voting. You kind of say, "Oh, I submit a proposed edit to the software." So it's essentially a group project.
Yeah, because they can make videos like they'll put like on some of the videos they'll put like over 17 only, not for under 17. So they will actually zap videos or do stuff like that to them. So you can't just put anything on
well,
there.
I mean, what drives it, what the software that drives it, in other words, creates the site that you're adding the videos to, is open source and group created. So it's like community based, sort of like kind of loosely similar to Wikipedia, where there's a bunch of editors who are just donating their time for free to keep improving the site, adding to the site, and then they sort of self-create rules of engagement, like submitting a proposal to change something. It has to go through a certain amount of votes, and then they say, okay, let's change that, and checking each other's code and that sort of thing, open source. That looks like how they're doing it. So
Yeah,
it
because
could be what is slowing down their development, because it's not structured like a large company would structure using product management techniques. It's not that way.
well,
But they do get a lot done, and it's
well,
free.
I got the impression they didn't have a lot of cash. Started. They might have been with Facebook or somebody.
Yeah.
They got pissed off. They're a bunch of young kids and they split, and they were thinking, oh, we're gonna like just like young kids when they leave a company. Oh, we're gonna do it better. We'll show you. You know, we know how to do this, and then they went out. They kind of like that because I saw an interview Tucker Carlson did with one of the guys, and from a few years ago, and he had that kind of like attitude, and I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, I got the impression they didn't have a lot of startup money. Also, they didn't have a lot of cash.
But equity is still a thing. You're putting a lot of time and effort in. If you create something awesome and enough people, especially when it's a social media thing, it's the traffic, it's the information that's valuable.
Well, yeah, but
Zuckerberg's selling your information, right?
well, yeah, but
you
when
are
you're
the product. Remember, Carl? If it's free,
right,
you
I
are the
know.
product.
I know, but if you're going up against like a Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, you in other words, the monopoly isn't so much like it's like a monopoly. The monopoly is like a prohibitive type monopoly where it's like trying to start a car company against the big three in the 1980s. Is the cost is cost prohibitive because to be able to compete on their level, you got to have all the dealerships lined up, you got to have the production plants, you got to have all this, the distribution. You got to have like $1 zillion just so when you open the doors, you look like one of the big three. Same thing. If you're going to try to do something like that, you got to look like when you open those doors, you got to look like Facebook. Okay, you can't like grow to become like them.
I think that it may be difficult to define precisely when a company becomes a monopoly, but I think that we can say when they cross the line of actually unpersoning a person to the point that they can't create an income, in other words, destroying their ability to support themselves, wiping out their business, and also doing it in such a way that they also break in those implied or those verbal contracts or those actually written terms of agreement, their own terms of agreement, they violate because they deplatform people who aren't even violating their terms of agreement. But I digress. The point being,
well, that doesn't get you to a monopoly.
A monopoly, I think, because they are suppressing at that point individual ability to earn income and function in the world as it exists now.
You're close. You're close. The reason why that part of it would be that's like the end result. The reason why that would be a symptom of a symptom, not a cause of a monopoly, would because if you're unable to earn an income because there are no other platforms, because they either through unfair trade practices squashed all competition. In other words, if somebody starts looking good, they're starting to move up, they just go and buy them out. Or they do things to hurt them, in the marketplace. Like years ago when was it Corona, not Corona, like Anheuser-Busch was saying, remember this is decades ago, was saying, oh, Corona tastes, they piss in the beer, that's why it's yellow because the bottles were clear bottles.
Yeah, I get the direct competitor bashing, but Carl, can they make an end run around that by threatening the customers directly? In essence.
Right. If you go with them,
what's good for you.
Right.
And this is kind of that in reverse. So isn't it essentially the same thing, but going directly to the client? And the other thing that was, to my understanding, that's happening is these companies are colluding, and saying, hey, we want you to close this guy's bank account because we don't like him, And so companies that are not
like Patreon or PayPal, right? In other words, like, okay, like stop them from earning an income or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I could see where that could kind of kick in.
And if you connect the dots about also, they're also, they have credit card companies are involved now at that level. But also, if you connect the dots, the way that you were saying, direct competition, they are elevating corporate news, and they are, that's
elevating content.
private.
Well, see, what I
Yeah.
was thinking of doing, and I think you and I should partner on this, is we create like an alternative to YouTube, but we don't do it because we're going to do it forever. We do it so we get close enough where they go, "Ooh, these guys are coming up. That we better go buy them out." And then they
And
offers
sell
because
out.
yeah, oh, definitely,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Oh,
I
sorry,
know
we're
you're
gone.
about the
Yeah,
sellout, Carl.
yeah,
I know
no,
you.
we're gone. Well, no, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry. Google comes to us and says, "Hey, you guys look really good. Yeah, how about here's $50 million and like go away." And then you and I have to think, gee, 25 million each. Hmm. Let's see. How long would you have to how long would you have to ponder that? 25 million. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That you already
Yeah,
got done
yeah,
pondering it. Yeah,
yeah.
it's gone. Oh,
No, that's the
information
best
man. Yeah.
way to make money. That's the best way to make money in software for quite a while is to just get big enough that somebody bigger wants to buy you out before you become a problem. That is, you're right. That's the pathway to financial freedom, girl. That is it. I have already like 3 projects people want me to make though. I think they're all apps. They all want me to make apps.
Oh,
So,
they want to make
and
apps
one
for
of
them and
them I
stuff.
will
Yeah.
do because it's yeah. I'm going to do one because it's for a charity that's involved with my son. So I
Oh,
want to do
nice.
their app.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, because they're a nonprofit. My son's the organization that runs my son's group home. They have a whole network in Florida of group homes.
Hmm.
They're a nonprofit, and they're looking for a standards and practices kind of app that they can use with their employees. So I'm like, yeah, that's not too hard.
You
I
mean
can do that.
like a human resources
So I'm
kind of
like,
thing?
oh God.
A human resources kind of thing for their employees? Is that what you're talking about?
Sort of, but more focused on training. They're keeping their standards of training, certifications, and I'm not sure what in real time it would involve for the employees day to day, but they want to make sure their employees are trained and that their employees are completing their certifications that they have to do, trainings that they have to do. Like for example, they all have to have their CPR, training certificates.
Okay.
One
Okay.
example, but they have to have a lot of them. So for some reason, they're having a hard time keeping that straight. And
Well, knowing
she wanted
you,
it to be an
yeah,
app so she could just pull it up and work with the
right.
employee right there.
Right on the
So,
spot. Right. Well, knowing you, you'll get it straightened out for him, and you'll get do a really nice job for him. So I have no
I've
doubts.
done a couple of similar systems. So I haven't done it in app form, but I've done a pretty similar system for someone else. And that it's been a while because I don't, I'm not an IT guy, but I am, but I'm not,
I'm about to say, wait, what?
So
What? You're not an IT guy? It's like, shit. If I had a problem, I'd call you. He's like, what the hell are you talking? Well, wait, I have called you. It's like, hey.
yeah, but I also had employees, Carl.
Oh, you were just like
I'm just working by myself now.
you're just a
I have friends. I can
delegator.
get the band together if I need to, but I like being alone. I like it
Oh,
just me and my cat working on a situation by
oh,
myself. I like
Solix asked. He's asking you a question. Standards and practices? Question mark. He's not following. So if you want to explain that a little more, that'd be great for Mr. Solix.
yeah, if it's that interesting. I have a
Well,
client.
yeah,
Well, it's sort
obviously,
of a
yeah. Well, to me, it's
charity.
interesting.
Okay, but they want me to create an app where I am keeping them up to the state regulations, which pertain to their employees being trained and having certifications in multiple areas, which vary from group home to group home. So they have to be compliant so that they keep their licensing and they keep their funding. And they're often inspected. So there's multiple documents and forms and tests that the employees have to do and trainings that the employees have to go through that they have to constantly be on top of. And adding to that the complication of employees coming and going, being fired or quitting, having been just hired, and maybe they just did a training, but somebody's only been there a week and missed the training because they're new. They have to always be on top of that, or they're at risk for losing one or more of their facilities, which is catastrophic for that sort of a business. So, and they are nonprofit,
Right.
so that means their budget is really tight.
Yeah, they have to keep it tight. They can't have a lot. You really can't have a lot of retained earnings when you're a nonprofit. So you can't have a lot of leeway,
Right.
unfortunately. It makes it kind of a drag. Yeah.
Right. You carry nothing over in the books for the next year.
Right.
Anyway, but the vice president, who's in control of personnel, among other things, wants me to create this as an app form, I guess, so that they can have their managers be able to pull information up right on the phone and deal with situations right there as they arise, and maybe even some training and certification right there, incorporated into the app, probably keyed in, to the state, some of the state tests and systems.
Wow. Well, that's really nice of you to be able to do
So
that for
by
them.
those standards, I mean state standards, and practices, I mean training.
Okay. Well, no,
So
that's really
hope that clears it up. If it
yeah.
was that interesting.
Well, yeah. Well, no,
I
don't.
think what I do bores most people.
Well, no, it doesn't. No, no. Look, that high tech shit's always look. We're all high tech now, so we have to be high tech. And so whether you want to be high tech or not, when you do even just being a content creator, I mean, you you have to learn. Trust me, it was a big learning curve for me. I mean, I didn't know anything about IT or audio or video or computers. I mainly know about research and like word processing. That's what I know about computers. Okay, so before I started this thing, so you imagine what I had to learn. Oh my God. So no,
Mm-hmm.
we're all high tech now, so we all have to learn this stuff. So yeah, what you do is like really cool because it's like yeah, we're all
The more I learn, the more the old stuff pushes out of my brain, and I'm like, how do I print a document? I forgot how to make a PDF. What do I do to make? I had to look that up the other week because it's been
oh
so long.
that is
I
funny.
had to create a PDF for a client, and I was like, I can't remember how to make a PDF in this particular program, because it's different for different things. Basically, print to PDF in most programs, but I couldn't get it to work, and I was like, I don't remember an alternative method for creating a PDF that doesn't involve buying somebody's software that I don't want to buy because I'm cheap. But it was like, how does this happen? And it reminded me of an old episode of Married with Children. Speaking, you're always bringing up TV shows that I never saw, so I'm going to bring up Married with Children.
Okay.
And mostly you bring up movies I never saw because I don't watch movies. But so one of the episodes of Married with Children, Kelly gets picked to be on a sports trivia quiz TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and of course she's the teenage daughter, and she's the known mental lightweight, shall we say, of the family, of a family of mental lightweights.
Right. Right.
So she's supposed to do this trivia contest live on a local TV show, I think is what it was. And the only thing she knew about sports was her father winning that football thing that they always bring up. It's like his one glorious moment, so the trope keeps repeating itself where he says he had the game-winning catch or something. I
Okay.
don't know if
Yeah.
you saw the show.
No, I did not.
So that was in high school. So here is a middle-aged guy. He sells shoes, and the only thing he has in his life that he's proud of is to repeat the game-winning catch in the high school
Right.
football
When he's
final.
17. Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Right. So the teenage daughter says, "What do you know about sports? How are you going to win?" She goes, "I know Daddy won the game-winning catch in 1968 or whatever it was," and that's all she knew. So the brother took it upon himself. He discovered a training method to force sports trivia into her little blonde head, and by the middle of the story, she had memorized dozens and dozens and dozens of sports trivia facts. So she actually made it to the final question, and she was about to win. And they asked her about that high school, it's a local TV show. They asked her about that high school football game, and who was it that won the game-winning catch?
Oh
She couldn't
shit.
remember
She can remember it.
because her
That's
brain
funny.
was full,
Right.
and the old information got pushed out.
It's kind of like
So
like
they
you when
just
you're
went
learning.
one question too far in her training. So I think that happens to me sometimes.
Well,
It's
well,
like
well.
stuff I've known for 20 years, I forget.
Well, you got to make sure make sure you don't smoke any weed because if you smoke weed, that increases your cannabis level in
That's
your
never
brain.
happened.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the funny thing about weed is like people don't realize that through evolution of gazillion years, right? your brain has cannabis in it, and the reason why it has cannabis is just so it can. It's like a hard drive, so it dumps unimportant information. Because when you see, like, if you look at something, you see a wall, your brain knows how many dots are on that wall because it's counted them, right? Like, oh, 487 dots. Well, that's information that your brain says,
Yes.
okay, we don't need, and it uses cannabis to get rid of unimportant things. But it also lets you remember like where you parked your car, or like when you were a kid, you put your hand on the stove and you burnt your hand, so you know not to do that again. The problem is when you add additional cannabis to your brain by smoking weed or whatever, then you disrupt the whole evolutionary process because now your brain is like, oh shit, now you have excess cannabis, so your brain is making you forget things that you're supposed to remember, like where I parked my cars, where I left my
Oh, okay.
keys. That's the
Interesting.
problem, right? Because that's why people say people who smoke a lot of weed don't remember a lot of stuff because your brain already had it figured out, all right, how much cannabis to have in it. Then you just decide to insert more artificially into it. And your brain's like, hey, no, man, we have enough. I got it. I got this. And like, no, I'm going to give you some more. And then now your brain's all fucked up.
So now your brain remembers more things
Less.
or less
No,
things?
because what it's doing is the cannabis
Less
is like
things. Okay, that
your
makes sense.
cannabis
Because
is
to be
dumping.
honest,
Yeah.
Carl, the guys that I knew doing it when I grew up, they were not very clever, and I would not peg them for people who remember lots of things. So I'm glad that you cleared that up for me because
Yeah. So
that's
now
one of the reasons why I've never done it.
now you know that these guys aren't stupid. They just can't remember because they put too much cannabis in their head.
Yeah, or maybe a little of both.
Or maybe, yeah, well, yeah. I
Just
mean,
saying.
you can always give them the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, okay, you're not stupid, you just smoke too much weed. You can say that, you know, and make them feel
Yeah.
better. But,
Yes.
oh, did you see that
My
headline I got?
brother's always saying that to me when I have those moments, and I'm like, I've never smoked weed in my life. He's like, you don't even remember the 80s, and I'm like, because I was too young. He teases. That's what brothers are for. But yes,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Did I see what headline?
AOC's chief of staff and top spokesman quit.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know why. Maybe that's me being mean. I'm
Well,
being mean.
the chief of staff,
Boy, they can't keep it together.
well,
None of the Democrats are just falling apart.
well, no,
Hmm.
okay, now the story's a little misleading because the spokesman, yeah, he quit, but he's going to go work on her campaign. Right? Because she's,
Okie dokie.
right now the chief of staff, he's going back to his PAC, stuff like that. But I think that was a deal Pelosi worked out with probably Cortez on some level because remember they had that meeting. Well, remember her chief of staff was sending all those tweets out and shit about the other members in the Southern Democrats and all that shit, and she was really pissed and about the chief of staff, and she even wrote a tweet saying, hey, if you tweet out stuff, bad mouthing it, don't expect it to just sit back and do nothing about it. So he's going back to what the Justice Democrats and all that other PAC shit that he did for 2018. But I think Pelosi wanted him gone. I think that was a deal she worked out
Okay.
with Cortez. Yeah.
Yeah, they were buddy buddy in a kind of creepy way recently. You saw them kind of smiling and sitting
Well,
next to each other in this sort of cold kind of
yeah.
creepy way.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I'm sorry. Pelosi hates her guts, doesn't want her around, looking for any reason, looking for a way to. Pelosi's one of those people that'll sit next to you and smile in your face, and she's literally sticking a knife in your face. Okay, at the
Yeah,
same
she's
time.
scary.
No, well, like I said, she didn't get
I
to where
don't
she
know.
is.
She's underneath. I think she's an alien, and definitely Cortez is a lizard. So yeah. So it's just kind of like I don't know, two traditional enemies who will come out on top: the Daleks versus the Cybermen. And I don't know. I think it'll be the Dalek, but who's the Dalek is the question. You
Aha.
probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, not at all. Not even close.
This is a sci-fi reference. Never mind. I'm a geek. Geeks know geek things. That's what we know, Carl.
Well, it's funny
So
when I started
anyway,
when I
but I
started.
wanted to.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying I wanted to just call in about those other points, and we got off on my personal business for some reason, and now I
Hey.
feel exposed. So I guess I'll let you go.
All right, young lady. Well, thank you for the great phone call as usual. So stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I'm glad I could contribute a little bit,
Definitely,
even
without
if
a
it
doubt.
went off the rails
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, shoot
I
me,
just tripped over a basket.
yeah, shoot me a mailing address so I can get you a hat.
Yeah, yeah, I want all that. Oh, and DA Archer mentioned. I agree with DA. He mentioned in your chat that you should have pink camo for the ladies. I was noticing when you held up those two hats. I was thinking, those are some masculine hats, Carl.
Well, it's a man. Well,
Just
hate to break it to you, but it's a man's world, baby.
yeah, but I mean a thing without a woman or girl, Carl. So point being, you need some marketing assistance because you can't just cater to 50% of the population if you want to make
No,
your return on
no,
investment.
I saw DA Archer say that you need some pink camo for the ladies. So I'll probably get some pink camo, just to have some. But yeah, okay.
That's a thing, Carl. It's a big thing. Well, it doesn't have to be pink camo. I mean, you can have like the nice sandy camo with just little bits of pink in it, just a touch of pink. I've seen that. It looks really cool. Just
Okay.
subtle.
Okay. I
So,
might
I mean, I
that
live
would
in the tropics, and actually, that camo would be legit here because we have like pink flowers all over the place here. So,
right. So
if you
then
want
like
to
no
hide here, you
right.
can't do the regular camo.
Well, wait a second. So if you do a video call on a panel and you're wearing that pink camo hat, I won't be able to even see you on the video call. You'll be
No, not
camouflaged.
if I'm sitting in my hibiscus or flower bushes in my yard. I'd be like, you can't even see me.
I
I'm
can't even
part of the
see you.
bush.
I say, oh my God, where is she? We can't see her. She's wearing that Carl's Opinion YouTube channel hat. Oh, damn it. Damn, ruined the whole show.
Yes,
But
it
all right, Miss.
really works.
But all right, Miss Effie loves America. Thanks, and I'll see you in the chat. And thanks for the phone call. And I'll get you a hat out as soon as I get the address. I'll shoot you one. Okay.
Okay, good night,
All right. Good
morning,
night.
whatever it is. Bye.
Exactly. Bye bye. And excuse me, that was the great Effie Loves America and the great call in as usual and great conversation. So thank you, Miss Effie Loves America. She was part of our panel show Wednesday night, our post debate coverage, which was really, really fun and really cool. So, okay, so we got upheaval. AOC's chief of staff and top spokesman quit. That's an interesting story, but I pretty much just said exactly what was going on there. So let me jump over here and get to us another story. Let's see. We'll go back to this one here. This is a really good story, and I want to cover this because they say Mitch McConnell is afraid of the mainstream media. I love their bullshit, their spin. Somebody announces against Mitch McConnell, and like suddenly like, oh, Mitch McConnell's afraid of this woman. Well, this woman ran for Congress in Kentucky, and she lost. Okay, just let you know. And that's her big claim to fame. She ran and she lost. So now she's going to run for Senate, and she thinks she's going to knock off Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. But, one big claim to fame Mitch McConnell has is this little headline right here. Republicans increase pace of pushing Trump's judicial picks through the Senate. There's one guy responsible for this pushing through so fast, and that would be that guy right there, Mitch McConnell, who is, yes, a rhino. Yes, he's an establishment guy. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, he gave Trump a hard time on the tariffs in Mexico. Yes, 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 because the people he represents, the big money guys, make a lot of money, import, export, importing stuff from Mexico, all that kind of stuff. So, yes, I get it. I know I'm not stupid. Anyway, but the one thing he's doing for us, which will last way beyond Mitch McConnell being in the Senate and probably way beyond when he's still even alive, is the fact that he's pushing through these judicial nominees. He invoked the nuclear option for the Supreme Court. That was all on him. Yay. And, well, no, that was invoked by, yeah, that was him. And then he also invoked it for the lower court judges also. So you only need 51 votes for all the judges, which was really cool. So that was pretty nice. And or was it Reed that did the Supreme Court, and then McConnell came back and did the circuit courts and the district court judges? I can't remember now. I always mix that up. Well, I don't always mix it up, but I'm mixing it up tonight. So anyway, but also another thing he did, which was really important, doesn't get a lot of press, was that he decreased the time for debate. In other words, okay, you can do by 51 votes, but there's still like it was going to be there was still a long amount of debate, so it still took forever to go from one judge to the next judge to the next judge. Well, he cut that time way out. He did that by a rule. He just said we're changing the rule. The debate's not going to go on for weeks at a time, a month at a time. I think he cut it down like to a week, 1 week or 2 weeks at most. So his picks have been going through really fast. So the point about that is he's up for re-election in 2020. Now, if you don't think he's going to play that hand really hard in an evangelical state, that he's the guy responsible for the conservative judges getting in the district court and the circuit court of appeals and the Supreme Court, you think he's going to be pushing that really hard? You don't think Trump is going to come out and campaign for him in 2020? I mean, Trump doesn't have to go to Kentucky to win Kentucky, but I guarantee you Trump is making at least two, if not three, campaign stops in Kentucky for 2020. I guarantee it. At least two big stops, two big rallies with Mitch McConnell there, saying vote for Mitch, he's my guy, and this other person's an idiot. Okay, so we have Mitch McConnell to thank for getting these judges as quickly, and plus he got rid of the rule. The one rule was for like appointing for the Ninth Circuit or for judges in like a senator state. Like California, before you had the blue card rule that the sitting senators in that state would have to like kind of approve the judicial picks. So, like California Ninth Circuit would be Feinstein and Kamala Harris, and he got rid of that rule because Feinstein was pissed. Well, you didn't get my approval for this guy, and McConnell's like, yeah, tough shit. We're not doing that anymore. So we got rid of that rule. So that cleared away a whole bunch of judges also. But anyway, let's take a look at this story real quick. All right, so Republicans increased pace, pushing Trump's judicial picks through the Senate. There's a picture of Mitch McConnell, like I said. Hey, big smile on his face. And plus, remember, he was the guy, he was a real asshole, which I loved about him. That, remember, they did that Green New Deal resolution, and they shot it up there to the Senate, and they figured, well, gee, McConnell will never put it on the floor because he hates us so much. And McConnell goes, no, I'm going to put this on the floor for a vote. And because I want you guys to go on the record voting for this Green New Deal, all you Democrats, and even the guy who sponsored it in the Senate, Ocasio-Cortez sponsored it in the House, and Edward Markey sponsored it in the Senate. Even he didn't vote in favor of it. All the Democrats just voted present. They didn't even vote yes on it because he wanted to put them on the record. Okay, you like this Green New Deal? You say it's a great thing. Okay, I want your name on the record saying yes, you're in favor of it. All the crazy things that were in it, and the Democrats were pissed. But yet he said, hey, I'm just calling it for a vote. He had a big grin on his face. He knew what he was doing. So sure enough, he calls it for a vote. It gets voted down by the Republicans, and not one Democrat voted yes on it. They all voted just present, which is really funny. So anyway, let's take a look at this story here. Washington Times. Republicans are pushing nominees through the Senate at the fastest pace since President Trump took office, using newfound flexibility they gained after triggering the nuclear option in April to limit Democrats' ability to obstruct. Senators processed nearly 90 contested nominees over the last few months, which is at least a 50% more, which is at least 50% more than they could have done before the nuclear option, which sped up the debate time for most judicial and executive branch nominees. The speed is a major win for Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and conservatives who have used a faster process to install 59 federal judges since April 3rd. Man, that's fast. We have obviously increased speed. We are getting more through, but we still shouldn't need cloture votes for so many of these, said Senator James Lankford, Oklahoma Republican who helped orchestrate the change in the nuclear option rules. Republicans said they felt compelled to act after Democrats attempted to filibuster more than 120 nominees in Mr. Trump's first 2 years in office, forcing Republicans to hold cloture votes to surmount filibusters. Their move slashed the maximum amount of debate time allowed on most presidential nominees from 30 hours down to 2 hours. That means the Senate can process up to 15 district judges or sub-cabinet executive branch positions in the time it used to take to confirm one. So you can do 15 judges in the same time it took to confirm one. In the last 12 weeks, the Senate has been in session. Since the change, it has cleared 88 nominees who faced attempted filibusters. That's in addition to passing several major spending bills and the annual defense policy bill. Before the change, if the Senate had spent full time on nominees without any other major business, it might have cleared about 60 presidential picks during the same time. Lankford said Democrats are still erecting unnecessary hurdles. Martha Pacold, for example, was confirmed this week to be a judge's post in the Northern District of Illinois. By a vote of 87-3, James Hendrick was also confirmed to the Northern District of Texas by 89-1 vote. Similarly, lopsided supermajority votes have occurred nearly 3 dozen times this year, as Senate GOP aide said. They're trying to slow down every single nominee to be able to slow the process down, Lankford complained. That's not going to help us long term. If we want to get the Senate back to working, period, regardless of who is president, this is not the path to do it. Liberal advocates said the nuclear option has sped up Republicans' ability to install conservative federal judges, with this week's action bringing the total to 144 judges, federal judges, since Trump took office. At the same point in President Obama's tenure, he only had 95. Because you remember there was some story like, well, Obama had the same amount. No, it's 144 to Mr. Trump, 95 to Mr. Obama. So he's moving them through faster. There you go. Republicans are now. Here's the deal with this: liberals really shouldn't complain. Again, elections matter. If you want to appoint the judges, and since McConnell just did the nuclear option, guess what? If you win the White House and you get a majority in the Senate, you get to do the same thing. And we're not, we shouldn't be bitching about it either. It's like, okay, we lost the election. You got a Democrat in the White House. You got a Democrat majority in the Senate. You get to pick your judges. In fact, Lindsey Graham says it all the time. He goes, hey, you know what? I voted for Sotomayor. I voted for Kagan. Okay? I voted for two Democrats that Obama appointed. So you know what? Okay, enough shit. Because he's like, hey, elections matter. You won. You get to pick the guy. You get to pick your judges. If they're qualified, Graham's like, hey, look, I know they're going to be liberal. I know they're going to rule like a liberal judge is going to rule. But if they're qualified and he won, and hey, that's how it works. So these liberals shouldn't be bitching and moaning about this. So and then they go on to bitch about other stuff. But again, whatever. But anyway, stop bitching. It's like, hey, if you want to nominate judges, it's real simple. Win the White House. You want to and win the Senate. Get a majority in the Senate. That's all you got to do. Which means what we have to do is make sure they don't. So we have to, keep the White House. President Trump vote Trump 2020, and we have to keep the Senate as well. Now, it would be nice if we get the House back, so we don't have to deal with these stupid subpoenas and investigations and all this other crap. So, again, all those people who voted in 2016 need to vote in 2020, and all those idiots who sat out in 2018 who voted in 2016, you need to vote in 2020. No excuses. Period. No excuses. But let's look at this story here. This one I wanted to cover here real quick. There's a little deal Trump did with the EU. He's trying to get the Europeans to be on the same side as us against China. So he's trying to work out a deal with them right now. And let's see. So U.S. to export more beef to Europe. Trump seeking wins on trade, says farmers will benefit. So let's take a look at this story. Okay, this is from the Washington Times again. If beef is what's for dinner across Europe, then a lot more of it will be coming from the United States in the coming months. President Trump said Friday he secured an agreement that will make it easier for American beef farmers to send their prized product to the European Union. He celebrated his achievement with ranchers at the White House as other trade efforts run into roadblocks on Capitol Hill or across the Pacific. Duty-free exports to the EU will increase by more than 180% under the deal, from 150 million to 420 million. This is Trump says this is a tremendous victory for American farmers, ranchers, and of course European consumers, because American beef is considered the best in the world. Like Trump, like we got the best beef in the world. It's like damn right we do. Shit. The president considers farmers to be a key part of his constituency. He's labeled them patriots as they weather some of the toughest crosswinds from Trump's trade fights around the globe. Look, we're all going to have to, eat it a little bit on this trade war. We can't let China keep doing what they're doing. Okay, this has to end at some point. Okay, now, if Clinton had done something, if Bush had done something, if Obama had done something, then yeah, he wouldn't have to do this really, nuclear option with China, and we wouldn't have to get hurt a little bit by it. But we're gonna all have to have a little bit of pain. Again, the Greatest Generation put up a lot of pain during World War II, and I don't mean just the guys who went and fought. I mean the people at home. You couldn't buy new tires. You couldn't buy a new car. Your gasoline was rationed. They had ration cards. How much you could travel, all that stuff. Women couldn't buy nylon because they're being used for parachutes. I mean, hey, we all got to toughen up a little bit and stop crying about, oh, I got to pay, 10 cents more for every dollar I spend, or 5 cents more, or 3 cents more. It's like, get over it. Okay, we're in a trade war with China. They have a $500 billion with a billion-dollar trade deficit with us, which means we buy $500 billion more of their shit than they buy of our good stuff from here every single year. And each of those billions of dollars represents American jobs. Okay, plus they're stealing all our intellectual property, which is going to have long-term consequences down the road, when they start building missiles and military weapons grade systems and everything else, and they just start making shit really cheaper, and we can't compete here in America. So, anyway, everybody toughen up a little bit. Stop crying about, oh, I got to go to the store and it cost me an extra dollar. It's like, get over it. Stop, okay? So anyway, so he's doing this little deal here with the European Union to help out the American farmers and the beef producers. This shouldn't have any problem going through Congress because, again, if you're running for president, you got to go through Iowa and they want the Midwest. So there shouldn't be any problems with this. It's like when he did that farm emergency bill to send money to the farmers in the Midwest, and that went right through Congress like nobody's business. I mean, it was like, well, yeah, okay, because you have to. You know, they don't have a choice. All right, so let's see this. What's this? Oh, immigration issue. This is from, let me pull this down, immigrationreform.com. So, again, this is a great website. They go into a lot of in-depth analysis on the immigration issue. It's definitely worth reading, and obviously a subscriber. So, Democrats as the open borders party is more than a talking point. In other words, it's not just a talking point. They really believe in this stuff. And there's a picture of a big donkey. Hey, big donkey. Okay, so this was from, I apologize, Jennifer G. Hickey, again, of immigrationreform.com. She goes on to say, open borders is a right-wing talk. Okay, this was a quote from Castro during the debate. And he says, open borders, excuse me, open borders is a right-wing talking point, exclaimed former Obama Housing and Urban Development Secretary Julian Castro during the second night of the Democratic presidential debates in Detroit. The talking point. Oh, let me see. I think I got this too big here. Let me drop this down. Yep. Hold on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's better. All right. Let's see. The talking point to which Castro was referring to was a Washington Post op-ed by Jay Johnson, President Obama's former Homeland Security Secretary, in which he wrote that decriminalizing illegal immigration was tantamount to a public declaration that our borders are effectively open to all. And this is Jay Johnson. And he's actually been really good on this because, again, he knows a lot of people that still work at Homeland Security, and let's see, hold on. You know, a lot of people that works at Homeland Security, and still got a lot of friends back there, and they were crying and saying, "Hey, man, we're overwhelmed here, and if we say it, they all think we're, a Republican talking point. They all think we're like just a bunch of Republicans." And so Jay Johnson went on Morning Joe and he said, "Hey, look, this is not a Republican manufactured crisis. This is a real crisis." He goes, "They're getting 4,000 people a day." He goes, "I would have a bad day if the number was over 1,000. I cannot even imagine what my life would be like if it was over 4,000. This is a real crisis. It's not a manufactured crisis. It's not a Republican manufactured crisis. This is a real crisis." And it was funny because I watched a clip of that Morning Joe episode. They showed a camera of his panel, all these leftists and stuff, and all they've been saying right up until he said that, literally probably that same morning, was, "Oh, this is the manufactured crisis." Then he comes on, Jay Johnson, Obama's former Secretary of Homeland Security, and they could not say shit to this guy. This guy's a big dude. He probably would have like slapped somebody in the face or something anyway. So and he's done quite a bit there. So anyway, the talking point Castro was talking about was what Jay Johnson said. Basically, you're saying it's going to open borders. So then Castro then added he was disappointed that some folks, including some folks on the stage, have taken the bait. And then so this lady goes on to say in this opinion piece, the main problem with Castro's argument is that it is simply wrong. The policies which were championed on the stage over 2 nights this week are or will lead to an immigration policy that can only be described as open borders. Decriminalization, which Castro placed at the center of his campaign platform, is just the start. Several candidates, including Warren, Harris, and Booker, want to open the door to closing private detention centers, a restructuring of the Homeland Security Department, and sanctuary policies. And that's going to be a disaster. Because, yeah, I mean, closing private detention centers, I mean, because, the government doesn't have enough public detention centers, so they've been farming it out to some private companies because they didn't have the room. They had to move quick. I mean, they were told, "Oh, it's overcrowded." Well, they had and this cost money. Trust me, their budgets were exploding. So those who oppose decriminalization include Johnson, former Vice President Joe Biden, Montana Governor Steve Bullock, and Ohio Representative Tim Ryan. Oh, and then she goes, "Oh, and by the way, and 66% of Americans also oppose open borders, and 47% of Democratic voters oppose open borders, according to a July NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll." That survey also showed that even among self-identified progressive Democrats, a slight majority, 54%, favor decriminalization. The view of the Democratic Party as one of open borders is shared by more than just the right wing. In other words, they are open borders. So it's not just the right wing saying, "Oh, you guys are for open borders." No, their own party is saying you're for open borders as well. Apart from the most anodyne of statements, it is almost impossible to separate their policies from what, in effect, is open borders, since they have offered no specific policies other than the near utopian notion of making Central American nations free of endemic poverty and rampaging gang violence. In other words, well, we all got problems. Okay, if you're saying, well, okay, you got gang violence and you got poverty, so you can come here through asylum. Well, no, that's not asylum. That's just you just want to come here. Well, you can't just come here. We don't have enough room for everybody. Okay, we our economy can't handle it. We do need a lot. We do need immigrants. Our economy's growing. We have a great unemployment rate, but we can't handle 250 million coming from South America. And, I'm sorry, we just can't. So anyway, Mother Jones's magazine's Kevin Drum conceded in a piece accurately titled, "Are Democrats Now the Party of Open Borders?" that while he had in the past criticized Republicans who accused liberals of wanting open borders, he acknowledges it is hard to see much daylight between Warren's plan and a de facto open borders plan. Because in other words, her plan pretty much is open borders. So after listening to a litany of anti-enforcement proposals, Drum asked the reader, "Am I missing something here? Does Warren's plan explicitly make it vanishingly unlikely that anyone crossing a border will ever be caught and sent back?" So basically she says, well, I'm not in favor of open borders. We just can't have the borders open. But then she gets rid of all the enforcement mechanisms. We don't want a wall. We don't want to be able to arrest anybody. We want to decriminalize it. We don't want detention centers. We don't want to detain anybody. So if you say, okay, so that is, I mean, if you say we're not going to detain you, we're not going to arrest you, and we're not going to build a wall to keep you from getting here to begin with, well, that's an open border. It's just like, come on across. It's like, if you walk across and say, well, you'll still be considered illegal. So what does that mean? They'll say, well, it'll be a civil penalty. Oh, good. So now you get a civil judgment against somebody. Then what? What do you do with that? Sue them and get what? Nothing. They're not collectible. They have no money. Well, they have money, actually. I saw a story today that it cost the Guatemalan family getting a coyote to get across the U.S. border and traveling through Arizona was like 9,000. Was it $7,800 per person? No discount for children. So these people coming across, they have money in their back pocket. So whatever's going on down there in Guatemala, they don't have any money. I mean, how many Americans have $7,800 per person in their family right now? If you have a family of four, that means you have like $30,000 in cash in the bank. How many middle class, working class American families can say they have $30,000 cash sitting in the bank? Okay, not a lot. Okay, that's a lot of money. So enough shit already. So Senator Booker joined Castro in trying to assert that objecting to open borders policies was somehow playing into Republican hands. When Biden said he favored an immigration approach that was merit-based, the former Newark mayor contended that the former vice president was playing into what the Republicans want, to pit some immigrants against other immigrants. No, it doesn't. It just means we want good. Hey, I got to take off. See y'all. All right, D.A. Archer, man. Have a good one. Let me say. D.A. Yep. I know if I do this. D.A. Later. Bump. So let's see here. Mm-hmm. See, none. Oh, see what are they talking about? Okay. Let's see. So we're okay. Excuse me. Sorry, I got to find where I left off. Here we go. Okay. All right. So anyway, so it's not pitting immigrants against the others, saying, look, we want a merit-based system. Canada has a merit-based immigration system. People don't know that. They think, oh, they let all these refugees in from Syria. Well, that's different. Letting refugees in is different than their immigration policy. If you want to emigrate from here to Canada, they will look at you and say, well, what are you bringing to the table? You say, well, I'm not bringing anything. I'm like say you're unemployed, you're homeless, right? You say, hey, I want to go live in Canada. And they go, well, okay, what skills do you have? I have nothing. Well, where did you work? At McDonald's. What did you do? I flipped hamburgers. Well, we have enough people here flipping hamburgers. We don't need any more. You can't come in. Well, that's unfair, man. What's wrong with you people? It's like, it's our country. We can determine who comes in and who doesn't. We don't need any more people flipping hamburgers. We have enough. Like that family that came from El Salvador. The guy was working at a pizzeria in El Salvador. He just wanted a better life in America. Well, good for him. But we have enough people making pizza in America right now. In fact, I don't remember anybody saying we have a shortage of people making pizza in America. as far as I know, no matter where I go, even in my small town, my little diggy town in the middle of nowhere in the desert, I can find like how many pizza places do I have? One, two, three. I have like 5 pizza places in town. And this is a little bitty town, it's like 37,000 people. I got 5 pizza places in the town, and I've never not been able to go get a pizza. So I know, in other words, I didn't show up at a pizza place and go, "Hey, I need a pizza." The guy goes, "Oh shit, man, we're waiting for some people from El Salvador to cross the border illegally to make some pizzas. Until then, we don't have any people to make them." I'm like, "Oh my God, no! I've been fighting against illegal immigration, and now I can't get a pizza. Oh, why? Woe is me! Woe is me! The agony!" No, that's never happened. Okay, I've always been able to get a pizza. So this guy, would come across the border. Now, first of all, he was seeking a phony asylum claim, and he got frustrated. They had to wait in line for the asylum claim because he wanted to come over here and make pizzas for us because I guess he's like the best pizza maker ever. And so that's when he ended up jumping and decided, hey, I know what I'll do. I'll take my little 2-year-old girl and jump in the river, and we can all both die. Well, drowned. Good. Dumb. Okay. I mean, you don't take your daughter into a river and try to swim across with her. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's stupid. Okay. But anyway, so his thing was he wanted to make pizzas in America. Well, okay. Again, we have enough pizza makers, so we don't need any more. So Canada's like that too. They say, no, we have enough people flipping hamburgers. We don't need you. You can't come in. Well, I'm a refugee. Well, from where? From the United States. Well, that's not going to work either. And they just turn people away. In fact, when we were deporting, I think it was people from Haiti, and there were a bunch of Haitians down in Miami saying, "Oh, we'll go to Canada." Well, they send somebody from the main office of in Canada down to the consulate in Miami saying, "Don't come, you can't get in." I mean, just telling them straight up because they have a safe third country agreement with us. So, like, even if they were leaving Haiti claiming asylum, they have to claim it here and stay here until we determine it. And they were saying, "Don't come." They were turning people away as well at their border. So, I mean, that's all we want to do here. It's like, look, we're allowed to say who comes in. If we need farm workers, okay, give us a bunch of farm workers. We just worked out a deal with Guatemala where they're going to become a safe third country, and we're gonna speed up the process for H-1 visas for temporary farm workers from their country to be able to come to the United States. So we're probably pretty, and we got Mexico right next to us. If they got plenty of farm workers wanting to come here and work at farms and in the ranches in Central Valley, California, and Imperial Valley. If we need somebody, we know where to go. We go right next door. We've had a 200-year relationship with Mexico. We can go there and say, hey, can you send us 100,000 people because we need more people working in the ranches in Central Valley, California? I think they'll say yes. I think we can get 100,000 Mexicans here tomorrow if we asked. If we said, hey, can you help us out? They'd be like, yeah, no problem. What do you need? Hey, we need 100,000 of you guys to come here and work these fields. No problem. So we don't need anybody from anywhere else. Okay, we got a whole country right to the south of us that we've had a relationship with for 200 years. We can work with them, no problem. We don't need anybody else from any place else coming here. They can all stay where they're at. Anyway, that's Carl's opinion, my opinion. Anyway, so then, and then this one guy responds pretty much what I said. No, it's not. Favoring immigrants based on merit criteria such as job skills and advanced degrees has been a Democratic idea since the 1960s, wrote William Seleton of the liberal online magazine Slate. Castro and Booker were trying mightily to use language to neutralize the few moderate voices that were heard on the stage in Detroit, but the chorus of candidates were singing a definitely open borders tune, without a doubt. Oh man. But let's see. Wait, so look, I love pizza. If I only eat the that poison 2 times a year. But yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I've never said, "Gee, I can't get a pizza." It's never happened for some reason. I've always been able to get a pizza. Oh, yeah, I think I'm a little low here. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, why was I so low? I don't know why I was so low there. Hey, I'm a little higher now. Hey, see, better on the camera. But yeah, after I've been on for 2 hours, hey, good idea. Time to look at it now. Hey, I just noticed. But yeah, live call-in show. If anyone wants to call in, area code 775-273-8970. SOLX, you want to call in, you go ahead and call in if you'd like. Information Man, if you want to call in, there's a number, 775-273-8970. Or who else is still out there? I see DA took off. Let's see what I'm looking at here. Several other people in the site. I don't see them in the chat, but yeah, maybe wants to call in. I see SOLX and Information Man. Either you guys want to call in, man? Feel free, man. Give a holler in. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I had SOLX on the other night. That was really cool. That'd be really cool having one of you guys call in tonight. Otherwise, and call-ins are generally open topic. So it's like if you have a topic you want to bring up, hey, go for it. But yeah, so let's see here. Let me grab another story real quick. Let's get to back here. Do 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 do. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let's see. Do do do. Mm-hmm. Let's see. All right, let's cover Cory Booker. He's having a hard time. He's having a time with the black vote right now in South Carolina. He's having a hard time picking anything up down there. Let's take a look to see what they said about him. It's from a couple of days ago. Let's take a look. So here we go. Message isn't resonating. Cory Booker looks good on paper, struggles in Democratic polls. He's having a hard time breaking through out there. I'm not sure why. I mean, you listen to him speak. He sounds like a nice guy. I mean, I'm not sure. You can't say it's his policies. His policies are pretty much the same as everybody else's on that stage. So maybe that's it. Maybe there's nothing to distinguish him from everybody else. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. This is my brain working. Unfortunately, you get to hear that. So I'm a nerd. I like to stay on topic. Yeah, well, if you want to call in and stay on topic, that's fine. If you whatever you want to talk about. So SOLX. But let's see here. All right. So maybe that's his problem. Maybe is that his policies are the same, but here I'm not sure because he's got the personality that you think I don't know. Maybe he's trying to be more spiritual. Maybe he changed it around a little bit. I think if he just stayed like who he was when he was mayor of Newark, because I remember he was trying to say, okay, I'm going to do this kind of approach or something, and he kind of changed who he was. I forgot what he did at the beginning of his campaign. He says he was going to talk more about I don't know. I can't remember now. I don't want to say spiritual things, but he was I don't know. He was going to try to change the tenor of the debate, for this campaign season. But it's like one of those things where, like, if something works for you, you don't want to try something new for the first time. When you're running for president, you might want to like have tried that, like the last run you made for Senate. I don't know, focus group it a little bit, but I mean, he probably should have just stayed his own personality. Because anytime you try to change personality, it's like changing a haircut. If it doesn't fit, you're gonna feel uncomfortable in it. We're trying a new style of clothing or something. If you don't feel comfortable wearing it, it's not gonna work. You're not gonna appear to be comfortable either. I think I have a phone. I don't know where it is. So look, I think I have a phone. I'm not sure where it is. Corey, I am Spartacus. Yes, that was well. Yeah, that was pretty stupid. Maybe that could be holding him back too. Maybe, um, I mean, being an asshole in the Kavanaugh hearings when it lose you any points with a Democratic primary voter, but maybe when he said "I am Spartacus," maybe that was a bridge too far for a lot of people to grab onto. They were just because he got made fun of a lot by a lot of people on the left. Also, I mean, left wing comedians were making fun of him. I am Spartacus, and all the memes were coming up, with Spartacus. But let's take a look at this story. Let's see what they say here about it. Okay, campaign compares candidate spot to Obama's. Well, he is no Barack Obama. I mean, he, he's not, if he's trying to do that, that ain't going to work. But anyway, so this is Washington Times. Reverend Joseph Darby, the first vice president of the Charleston, South Carolina branch of the NAACP, has narrowed his choice to three candidates in the Democratic presidential race. I like Biden, I like Warren, I like Harris. They are probably my top three, he told the Washington Times. What about Senator Cory A. Booker of New Jersey, who, with Senator Kamala Harris of California, is one of the most prominent black candidates in the race? Question mark. Answer: It's hard to say. Actually, he ought to be on the list, but I'm more impressed with those three. Darby said. There's nothing that's turning me off. He is enthusiastic. I'll give him that. But for whatever reason, his message isn't resonating like those of the other three. Huh. Darby's assessment cut to the heart of the turmoil at the Booker campaign. He ought to be on the list, but he's not. Mr. Booker's presidential bid looks good on paper. He stands right. That's what I was saying. It looks good on paper. He stands out as a youthful 50-year-old black politician with an inspirational message of racial justice and love. Now you think like, okay, that might work. He is a former mayor of hardscrabble Newark, New Jersey, who ascended to the U.S. Senate. If that's not enough, he is dating Hollywood star Rosario Dawson. Yet Mr. Booker remains mired in the low single digits in national and early voting state polls. He trails far behind with black voters, which has hobbled his campaign across the country, but especially in South Carolina, home to the first primary in the South and the crucial phone call coming in. Hey, Mr. SOLX, how you doing?
Black politician with an inspirational message.
Oh, yeah, turn the YouTube off. You gotta turn the YouTube off.
We're like time. Hang on a second. I gotta turn this down. What are you saying?
Yeah, you just gotta turn the YouTube down, right? Yeah. Otherwise, we've got the delay going on there. How you doing tonight, Mr. SOLX?
SOLX is here.
Ah.
I don't like calling in because I'm not an orator and I'm not a teacher and I hate teaching people.
Uh-huh. Well, I think your calling the other night was good.
I prefer bringing information to people and forcing them to learn for themselves. I mean, that has to be the epitome of conservatism.
Well, it's kind of like the Socratic method. Like you kind of like keep through like asking questions and like try to narrow down what the question should be, so people can find the answer on their own.
Not true.
Oh, okay, tell me.
I like presenting suppositions and then making people find the question for themselves.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
You're an attorney. You know what that means?
Well, in other words, you present an argument. Well, actually, what I do, I don't want people necessarily to, like, I don't want people to say, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, let me ask you a question. I'd like to present it so that I'm giving them the questions and the answers. You know what I'm saying? So they say, oh, yeah, I agree with that. I'll rule in your favor. It's like an adversarial proceeding, but it's a competition.
That's a very good theorem that you presented. Here's an example today that I encourage. That I incurred. My bad in linguistics. A sheriff came up to my vehicle today when I pulled in to my yard.
Oh, really?
And he walked to my vehicle. He walked up my vehicle, and I locked my door, and I rolled my window down 2 inches and grabbed my pepper spray. And, well, he's in an unmarked car, and he's got a badge on his shoulder. So I pulled out the badge that I bought off of Craigslist, put a badge on my shoulder. And I said, who are you? And he said, well, I'm the county sheriff. I'm the sheriff, the county that I'm in. Well, I didn't vote for you.
Oh, you're just winning all kinds of friends.
I have no idea who you are.
Right.
And you got your hand on a weapon on your side. He was in plain clothes, for heaven's sake. He still had a weapon. So wow. I had retaliated.
How did that go?
I'm getting to the point. I'm getting to the point of my oration here involving politics in a moment. But this is the construct of what I'm presenting. So the sheriff says, oh, I'm the sheriff. Now, I live on a piece of property. There are two pieces of property on the same property. They cannot be segregated. So
Okay.
the people on the second piece of property were evicted 2.5 months ago. The fellow came up to me and says, gave to me a man's name. And I said, oh, are you talking about a short, fat man that used to live here? He said, no, it's a woman. And I told him, no woman has ever lived here in the past 5 years from the time that I've been living in this house. And I have no idea who you are. And I pulled up my can of, it was a can of pepper spray. Yes, it was. No, it was not a can of pepper spray. It was a can of bear spray because I live in the Rocky Mountains.
Okay. Well,
this
bear
thing
spray.
would have blasted the guy's eyeballs out, and he pulls out his gun and points it at me.
Well, I would have probably done that too if you pointed the can of bear spray at me. I probably would have pointed the gun at you too.
No, I wanted to burn his eyeballs out because I've been taken advantage of by for so long.
Yeah, but you can't do that. But you can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, look. Okay, I always tell. I know. I tell my clients, look, don't litigate. Don't. I tell my.
Can't do that.
No. I
can.
No. What I tell my clients is, if you're dealing with law enforcement, like say you get pulled over, right, and you know you didn't do anything wrong, and you think this cop is just harassing you, right? I mean, just straight up harassing you. You're going the speed limit. Your car's fine. No. Hold on. Let me. I'm making
my
it.
fault. My fault. I didn't clarify the illustration. He was already sitting there. I haven't even gotten home yet.
Okay.
I pulled into my yard.
Right.
It's a fenced yard. And
but it's.
I mean, yard, and then he walks out my vehicle.
But at some point, you knew he was a cop.
No, he did not identify himself.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. At some point, you knew he was a cop. I didn't say whether he identified himself or not. At some point, you knew he was a cop.
No, I did not.
You never knew this guy was a cop.
An unmarked car.
Okay.
Plain clothes, and he had a badge.
Well, he had a badge.
I grabbed a badge that I bought off of. I bought my badge. What's that funny little place you buy things from? Amazon.
Amazon. I like Amazon. I brag about Amazon all the time. Owned by the biggest leftists in the country.
I bought Amazon twice.
Yeah, I buy Amazon all the time.
I bought a washing machine from Amazon, and then I bought a cop badge.
every time I mention it,
a cop badge. I got a cop badge.
Right.
I'm in a plane truck.
Right. So you're trying to.
In a plane car
right. So in other words,
identification.
Okay. In other words, you're trying to show him, look, I bought a badge too, so I don't know if your badge is real or not.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
I know the rules. You're an attorney. I know the rules.
Oh, so
I did not answer a single question.
No, but
question he asked me.
No, but I mean, when he showed you his badge, did you know at that point he was a cop?
You got a badge?
Do I have a badge? No, I don't have a badge.
Oh, I thought you were going to show me a badge. So anyway.
No, I don't have a badge.
No, he has a badge on his chest, and so I took my badge out of my little glove compartment and stuck it on my chest.
This sounds all bad. No, okay. Anyway, what I was trying to say.
I'm getting to the
okay, go ahead. Get to the point.
Democrat, Republican, or Grand Old Party political thing in a moment here.
Okay,
so
go
here's
ahead.
the point.
Right.
He didn't identify himself. He wasn't here for me. He was here for my next door neighbor, who was on the same property.
Okay.
And so he asked me a question, and I said. And I responded to him with a question. Then he asked me another question. And I asked him another question. And bear in mind, my window was rolled down 1 inch.
Okay.
By the way, my vehicle is very expensive. It is bulletproof. He did have a gun on the side road. I don't have a gun. I just got this enormous can of bear spray.
All right. So he asked you a question, and he was asking about your. In other words, you live on the same property. The property cannot be partitioned, so it's like the same address, but it's like two different houses or people living on the same property, right?
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, by law in any municipality in the United States, you have to have a certain number of garbage cans. We got 2 garbage cans that incorporate 4 homes. So
Okay.
my home and the home that I was next to, which is right next to me, and according to HUD, of which I've done a great deal of work with, it is not called a mobile home. It's called a manufactured home or a
Manufactured home.
prefabricated dwelling.
Okay, there you go. All
You
right.
know about that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm happy that you know about that because I made that rule. Front page of HUD says that. Anyway, so he gets out there and he's chatting. All he wants to know is if there's a girl that lives in the house. Well, the last people that lived in that house was 2.5 months ago, and no woman, or I'm sorry, I made a misnomer. No female.
Right. So I
lived
mean,
in that house.
so did you tell him that?
No, he kept asking me questions.
Oh, but you never got a chance to
him.
You never got a chance to answer and tell him that.
Question.
Oh, you answered. Oh,
No,
you answered with a question.
To him with a question.
Oh, what was your question you asked him?
You know the drill. And so I got out of the truck with my can of bear spray, and he put his hand on his weapon, and I said, I have no idea who you are. I want to burn your eyeballs out. If you don't leave here immediately, if you don't take your hand off your weapon and leave here immediately, I want to burn your eyeballs out, and you cannot stop me by legal law. And he says, oh, I am sorry, Mr. Godfrey. Oh, my stars. Oh, my stars. I just told Carl's opinion, my last name.
You just doxed yourself. You just doxed yourself.
What?
What
do we got here? We got 6 people that heard my name. So here's the thing. So, okay, here I'll tell you my name. My name.
Well, you don't have to tell me your name.
I'm a direct descendant. No, I'll tell you
Okay.
my genealogy. I'm a direct descendant of Godfrey of Bordeaux.
Okay.
That's the creator of the Holy Crusades. The only man ever in history of the planet ever to be crowned king of Jerusalem.
Okay. All right, but anyway, get back to the story.
Yeah, right.
So what happens eventually? Does he leave?
Yeah,
Is he happy?
Okay, and so here's what happened. He wanted information from me about this woman who never lived. I did it again. I said the word woman. My stars.
So it's okay. So he asked you. Okay, he asked you about a woman who never lived there. You told him. Right. Well, I mean,
woman.
I know. Okay, I know. But okay, but how did this end?
The woman never existed.
I know, but how did this?
Woman never existed in human.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, but how did this story end? How does it end? Does he say? Does he just leave? What happens?
I asked him if he voted for Donald Trump.
Oh, so what did he say?
He said yes, he did, and I said so did I. Then he left.
Well, there you go.
That's my political argument. I know.
Well,
so that's what happened today.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't get hurt. I'm glad you're okay.
Well, I'm glad he didn't get hurt, because if he would have said Hillary, I would have burned his eyeballs out. No, I wouldn't have done that. I am not malevolent.
No, I don't think you are.
But involving malevolence or benevolence, the one thing that I heard today was the New York City Police Department, the Benevolent Association. What I heard today was not malevolent at all. It was malevolent. They accused the American public because they lost in court. Do you remember that article?
No.
Oh, okay, great. What was the dude's name? I may have to go to my computer and look the dude's name up. They accused. They lost in court. Yada yada yada. Looking it up. Oh, it's buried now. My stars! It just happened like 12 hours ago. How can it be buried already?
I didn't see it. I wasn't covering anything from out of New York, so yeah, I didn't see anything out of New York.
Here's the constructs. There was a police officer in New York City who put his knee on a dark-skinned man's neck, and he died.
Okay.
You remember that?
Oh, you mean the Eric Garner case where you did the chokehold?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they lost in court today.
What do they filed? Wait, hold on. Because I didn't read it. So did they file a civil suit against the department and they lost on the civil suit?
No. They haven't filed a civil suit.
We said. Well, hold on.
They lost in federal court. They lost in federal court involving the death of the man, and now federal court said, the Department of Justice is now asking for the officer involved to be fired. That was what was handed down from the judiciary system of our government, and then they came out. The 11th. They called themselves the 11th Association of the Police in New York City.
Well, wait, hold on. I tell you what. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up this story so we can take a look at it. Hold on. Let's see, where is it?
Oh, excellent. Let me get back to you where you are. Where are you? There you are.
I'm right here.
You're going to put the story up?
Well, I'm going to go find it. Let me see if I can find it first. Okay.
There's going to be a time lag there because you're not even talking. You're just smoking the smoke.
No. You can't see it. You can't see it yet. But I haven't got there yet. Let's see.
I mean, if you quit smoking cigarettes and stop trying to commit suicide by smoking cigarettes, that's the day I'll stop smoking.
Hold on. Eric Garner.
I am not chastising. I smoke my ass off.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see.
Because it's
Eric,
pleasurable.
you said this was today? This went down? Garner.
I have to do a refresh. Because you're not even talking. I'm looking at you and you're not talking.
Well, no. There's a delay. There's a delay between what you're seeing and us talking. We're talking like 25 seconds ahead of what you're seeing on YouTube. Okay.
Oh. Fascinating. I should like living on Mars.
Right. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. Mm-hmm.
No, I am staying germane to your topic tonight, tossing Obama under the bus. I'm staying germane to it, but I need to bring forward.
Okay, hold on. I tell you what, instead of hold on. If I put it on the screen, you won't be able to see it, so I'm just going to read it. So Daniel Pantaleo, New York NYPD officer in Eric Garner's death, should be fired, the judge says. So the picture of the cop. So last month, the Department of Justice declined to bring criminal charges against Officer Daniel Pantaleo in connection with the Eric Garner's death. And then, let's see. So here we are here. So 5 years after his death in police custody, a police administrative judge, like that's in-house, police administrative judge, maybe not in-house, recommended on Friday that the officer who placed him in a chokehold should be fired. So the police administrative judge recommended he be fired. I guess that just happened today. Because remember, de Blasio was getting yelled at the debate stage on Wednesday, like, how come you didn't fire this cop? How come you didn't fire this cop? So de Blasio got back to New York and said, hey, give me a judge to say this cop should be fired, then I'll fire him. So anyway, the finding sets in motion the final stage of a long legal and political battle over the fate of the officer, who has become, for many critics, an emblem of what overly aggressive policing is. Handle has been a political minefield with both the police commissioner, James O'Neill, and the mayor. Let's see. So for the police, let's see. Okay. Mayor who ran on a platform of police reform has worked to reduce incarceration, cutting the number of arrests, but has also labored to avoid alienating rank-and-file officers. His unwillingness to call for the officer's dismissal came up in the Democratic National Debate on Wednesday when he was criticized by fellow New Yorker Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. And then there were people in the audience were yelling, fire him, fire him. Right.
Can you believe that?
What?
I mean, oh my stars. Kirsten Gillibrand. Can you believe that? She was criticizing that. She's supporting that. So here's the issue.
Okay, so
The
all right
last
here. Okay, hold on. Here's a story about the Police Benevolent Association. But the president of the Police Benevolent Association, Patrick Lynch, warned that the commissioner and the mayor would lose the support of officers if the decision was made to terminate the officer. And then he went on to say this decision is pure insanity. He said in the statement, if allowed to stand, it will paralyze the NYPD for years to come. A police department spokesman said O'Neill had.
What did you just say?
Uh,
Did the police officer kowtow to insanity? Did you say that?
no. I said the head of the Police Benevolent Association said if you fire him, it will be insanity. It's insane to fire the guy based on the facts of the case.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You know they're going to kowtow to that excuse.
Well, no.
Here's the thing.
So go ahead. What do you got?
Politically, this and that benevolent association was strongly in that article that you haven't read fully yet or the video. I actually watched the video. Was strongly presenting their arguments as a political ploy. Did you read that far yet?
No. Let's see. Judge's recommendation comes 2 weeks after Barr announced Justice Department would not seek a federal indictment. Blasio is not allowed to directly fire a police officer. He can influence the decision because the police commissioner serves at his pleasure. De Blasio said he cannot publicly express an opinion because it could be seen as an attempt to influence the department's decision, exposing the city to a lawsuit. Lynch, the union president, said the mayor had already exerted the influence with his remarks on the presidential debate stage. We have a mayor who predetermined the outcome, he said. He said the family will get justice. Of course, that family's justice is finding a police officer guilty and then firing him. And talks about a video, right? And then the officer's lawyer, then the officer's lawyer said the judge had ignored the evidence and bowed to outside political pressure. There you go, right there. He said the officer did, yeah.
Political pressure. Now, the political pressure was not political pressure from the Democrat side. That is what he did not say. The political pressure was from the Grand Old Party side.
Oh, you think so?
That's the political pressure that he was referring to. But the facts of the matter is, it was the Democrats, the DNC, that presided over the political pressure, not the GOP. You see how this was.
No, why do you think it was the Republicans putting the political pressure on the judge to say the cops should be fired?
No, the GOP did not do that. It was the Democrats.
Well, yeah, obviously, yes, yeah.
New York City has nothing to do with the GOP. It has everything to do with the NCP. But then the mayor, who is a forefront runner of a candidate for the President of the United States, came out with a statement today. And that is why they made their statement against him. So here you have the Democratic National Party not only in the debate stage fighting each other and as in your topic, tossing Obama under the bus, they're also tossing each other under the bus in the districts. The illustration here is the Democrat Party has imploded, and this is the most worrisome thing I've ever seen in my entire life. For I, myself, depend on our two-party political system based on its checks and balances.
Right, I agree. We want a strong two-party system, okay, because they check each other. Right, one makes sure the other one doesn't get too far afield, because if it does, then the other party swoops in and says, "Vote for us." These people are crazy, right? So the Democrats keep the Republicans from going too far right. Republicans keep the Democrats from going too far left. But if one party is imploding, then you just have the Republicans, and so there's nothing to keep them in check. And plus, you want them to compete for your vote. So you want them to say, "We want your vote because we're better," not just because we're the only game in town. Because then we have a single party system like the communists, and that's bad. That's not good. Right. So you want competition. Exactly.
Correct.
Totally agree with you, Mr. SOLX.
At Carl's opinion, here is my demographics. I called in your show one time just because I didn't want your show to end after 45
Yeah, I
minutes.
know. I was getting ready to end the show, then you called in. I remember that, yeah.
And I presented to you the absolute irrefutable proof of why we're going to lose our two-party system. Would you like me to repeat this again of why this is going to happen?
No,
I would love if you had 100,000 people watching you at this time, because this is the truth. Without fail, and by laws of the United States Constitution, any political party must have a political statement. The political statement must be accurate to the time. The last time the Democratic National Party had a political statement was in January of 2016.
Right, but they'll get it.
Statement.
I know, but we talked about this. They'll get another one in January of 2020 when they start doing the platform committee, and they have to come up with a Well, not January, probably more like probably sometime around. It probably won't get done till around. It generally gets done right before the convention. So it's like you have the convention, and then like within the 2 weeks prior to the start of the convention, you have the platform committee meeting, and then the rules committee. Well, you have the rules committee meeting first, then you have the platform committee to come up with a platform. They have to vote on it, and then it goes to the full membership at the convention to vote on the planks, and that becomes a platform.
You're a very smart man. You are exactly correct. But here's the problem.
What?
In January of 2017, what happened to the DNC? Every single staff member was fired.
Hmm? Oh, they're totally disorganized. They're totally disorganized. Yeah, they just fired, and a whole bunch just resigned now over this whole they weren't diverse enough. So the DNC, the executive at the executive level of the DNC, they're in total disarray right now. You know, their main staff members are gone. The new staff members they brought in, they're gone. So I mean, you know, this is it's really bad, really bad timing, right?
You're missing the point. It's not the DNC. The DNC was destroyed. It's a DCCC.
Oh, Democratic Congressional Committee.
The DCCC, exactly. The Democratic, well, they're in charge of the finances of the Democratic Committee.
Yeah.
They quit. Just this week, they all quit. So there is no DNC. There is no financial committee of the Democratic Party. There will be no Democratic platform. Here's the point. There are 300 political platforms in the United States of America. 200 of them were ended. Why? Because they did not have a political platform statement. According to the Constitution of the United States of America, they have to have a political platform statement.
No. Where is that found in the Constitution? Because I missed it in my edited version of it, I guess. Where is it in the Constitution that there is no mention of political parties in the Constitution? Where? Tell me. I'll look it up. Tell me.
I guarantee you this, and I will bet you my entire life income against your entire life's income that you never read the Constitution of the United States of America. I have. I've read it several times.
No. Just tell me where. Tell me. Hold on. Tell me what article. No. SOLX. Relax. Tell me what article it's found in. I'll pull it up right now. What article of the Constitution? Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing on air.
Tell me the article in the 15th book of
No. Like is it like Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, Article 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7? What article in the Constitution is that quote about? There's no mention of political parties in the Constitution.
Yes, there is.
Oh no! Just tell me where it is. I'll look it up right now. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up right now. I'll pull up the Constitution right now.
By law, you can't look it up on the internet. This is the law. The only place that you can get the entire United States Constitution by law is from the Pentagon. Now, and I did it. It only costs $250, and you can get all 25,000 pages.
There's 25. You're telling me there's 25,000 pages in the U.S. Constitution?
That's why I said you never read it.
No, I've never read 25,000 pages of the U.S. Constitution because
Nobody has. I have a copy. I purchased a copy when I got out of the military. Actually, before I went in the military, I purchased a copy. It was 20,000 pages. I took an oath. I wanted to know what oath I'm taking to, so I read the whole goddamn thing. So that was in the 1980s. Today that's 25,000 pages. So those extra 5,000 pages, I never took an oath to. Think about that. No place on the planet that was ever written that I get to take my oath back. Except they never mentioned those 5,000 extra pages, did they? So here's what you get to do. You can go to the United States Pentagon and order a copy for yourself for $250. When you get that copy, read it, and then tell me I'm wrong.
Okay, hold on. Hold on a sec.
We have to have judges to read all this shit. And those are the only people the United States Supreme Court's the only people that I know who understand the whole entire thing. So let me digress back to the original conversation about Democrats tossing Obama under the bus. You want to know why they did that?
Why?
It was a result of 1859.
1859. Okay.
In 1859, the Democrat Party agreed we will no longer barter and sell slaves internationally. However, what created the Civil War in the United States was because the GOP argued successfully that you will not barter slaves internally. And here's the problem with the Constitution. In the Constitution of the Confederate Constitution, portions of the Confederate Constitution were allowed into the United States Constitution to allow them back into the Union. Did you know about that part?
What? Repeat that last part again.
Have you read the Confederate Constitution?
No.
The problem with the Confederate Constitution is they never had a Supreme Court. They always relied upon the United States, the Republic of the United States Constitution, because they didn't have a Supreme Court.
Well, I tell you what. Hold on a sec. Well, I tell you what, it's getting late, and I'm gonna probably. It's after 2:00 my time, and it's way past my bedtime. So I'm probably gonna cut the live. This conversation we're about to have is gonna take about another hour, so I can't stay up that late. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the live stream for tonight off. So I tell you what, I'll probably be doing a live stream tomorrow night, and so maybe I'll do a show like on the Constitution, and I can have you call in about that, because that's gonna be a good hour-long conversation at least. So yeah, that's gonna be a long one.
Hour long.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is pretty detailed. This is gonna be no. What I'm saying, no, I know, no, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, it's like 2:00. I've been on for 2.5 hours already, so I'm getting tired. So I'm gonna.
I got you.
Right. So anyway, let me cut the live stream up tonight. All right, let me let you go real quick, and then I'll say goodnight to everybody. Okay. All right, Mr. SOLX. Hey, man, thanks for the phone call, and I'll see you in the chat, and I'm gonna cut this off in the next couple of minutes. Okay.
Well, love you, Carl.
All right, man. You take care. All right. Bye-bye. All right. That was a great SOLX calling in there. Yeah, that conversation was going to take a long time there. Because, yeah, those were details of I pulled up the Constitution. We're going to have a good conversation about that. But, yeah, we'll have to do that another time for sure, because that's sounded like that was going to get really interesting really fast. Unfortunately, it's just really, really late now. So anyway, I want to thank everybody who's been in the chat room, everybody who's been viewing us, everybody who'll be viewing us later. And this is Carl for Carl's Opinion. Have a great night, everybody. And we'll see you next time. And remember, we got 2020 coming up. It's right around the corner. So everybody, if you know somebody who's on the fence, who maybe is not paying attention, start talking to them and start spreading the word. And again, thanks for everybody joining us, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.